Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 267. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, alongside Johnny V.
Hi.
And here we are. It's October 1st, and somehow you managed to look dumber than normal tonight.
I don't know what you're talking about, Terry.
Congratulations. Some of the exciting news, if you are... Well, I don't want to just say a Milwaukee or a Wisconsin baseball fan, because, of course, it can span even greater distances than that. But as of right now, we're going to bring you the most up-to-date, late-breaking news. The Cubs are in a single game. Wow. That's where my mind is.
That's wishful thinking right there.
It is. Last year they were. The Brewers are in a single game, single elimination, whatever you want to call it, wild card. Extra game right now. It's going on with the Washington Nationals. Johnny here, a Milwaukee Brewers fan. Myself, not so much. And
we'll let you on the bandwagon for this.
I pride myself in typically not being a bandwagon fan, really, in any sport.
Correct. I understand.
I've never really been.
But I mean, there's room. Your team is gone.
So it would make sense to have the hometown pride.
And you're local, have a little hometown pride, and it's fine if you don't. I understand, because I would never say to someone, if they were a Cubs fan and the Cardinals who are still in it, I would never tell them, well, you could be a Cardinals fan, because I know there's a monster rivalry.
Yeah.
And there is a rivalry between the Cubs and the Brewers. It's not the equivalent of a Cardinals Cubs one. So you're welcome. Packers. So you're welcome to join on. If you don't want to, that's fine. I understand.
Instead, I will likely take the road that probably plenty of people do, is when your team is out, rather than jumping on with another team. At that point, I can just write off the rest of the season or really not care.
Is that how you feel about Ricky right now?
I know. I was going to say, people at home have to draw some similarities.
I mean, if you're a Ricky fan.
Favorite player, Ricky Wysocki. We're going to be talking about that here shortly. Quickly, I got to give a shout-out. I said the first super chatter gets a super shout-out. Aaron Palm coming in from Minnesota. Aaron and Beth are probably both watching, shoulder to shoulder, on their couch, both logged in Minnesota, and just waiting for me to say the term Minnesota or reference anyone in Minnesota. So they're looking for those Minnesota shout-outs, and we appreciate you guys tuning in every single week. So thank you, guys. All right, we're going to have Dynamite here coming up in just a few minutes, actually. It's been a couple weeks since we had him, so excited to have Dynamite rejoining us. And then once he gets settled in and gets his travels completed and is ready to go, we're going to have Jay Redding join us. Jay Yeti Redding, Hall of Famer and married to the world champion Des Redding. He will be joining us. Maybe a little bit of both of them, actually. I'm not sure. It'd be great to have them both if we could. I'm not sure if they're together at the moment, physically near each other. They're together. Never mind. So, but we will have him joining us. Some great stuff. We talked about it last year. Chains for Charity. Some great fundraising effort that's taking place that's tied to the USDGC. And then, of course, the overarching big picture item being the USDGC taking place this week. There are some players right now taking photographs of their player pack and putting them online for sale. So we know
Keep
that
an eye out.
With them an hour ahead of us.
Check Josh Anthon.
Yeah, being 10 o'clock already. I'm sure some of those player packs are for sale, and USDGC, typically with a great opening ceremony, Golden Rake Awards, I believe, were handed out, and all the other great things that partake and are part of, I should say, the USDGC experience. So, all right, we have Dynamite lined up, almost ready to go. You got to click a few buttons there, Johnny.
I think we might.
You need to call in the pros from Fulcrum to help you out?
I don't believe I do.
All right. I don't know. I'm excited to see what they have in store for us this week as well. I was checking out right before the show, I saw the Ulta World. Jamie Thomas was working the Ulta World Instagram story, showing a little bit of behind-the-scenes action, and we are super excited to see the live coverage. Again, with not a lot of other people taking on that effort, it's going to be exciting to see how someone else can tackle it, see what they're doing different from last year, and how things are going to look this year. They said they're going to have a little more of a relaxed vibe, and they're coming to you from a couch. So
they are. All right.
Speaking of couches, I think this beard just appeared out of the couch seat cushions. Dynamite, Dana Vici.
comes the dynamite.
That's going to get us pulled off YouTube.
Come on,
YouTube,
Dana, cut it.
YouTube.
You only get 3 seconds.
Sorry.
You don't need to get flagged from the YouTubes here and get yelled at. And the FCC, Scott Stokely almost brought down the entire YouTube last week. Okay, he didn't.
Not really.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Good to see you guys. It's been a minute. I've been busy. You've been busy. I hope we're not drifting apart, but it's definitely good to be here.
You didn't fall off any mountains in Colorado. I mean, you're hanging with your boys and UC and, hustling those CD 77,000 rolling bird things or whatever you got. But yeah, you didn't fall off a mountain and you're here with us. What more could we ask for?
I got a little worried, though, Dan. I ain't going to lie. It's been a while since we had you, so I had to reach out to one Steve Gans. And if you look right above here, we got results.
What?
Yeah. These are all the events, B tier and above, top 3 places. So
wow.
There are a lot of, every week he'll be sending this to me. There are a lot of events we don't get a chance to talk about because they're B tiers and we see a lot of players. Now, it will include the NTs and the A tiers, but we need your expertise for those, Dana. Those B tiers that you just don't have time to really dig in and make all the phone calls that you do for the NTs and the A tiers. They need some respect as well, so we're going to be showing that from now on. So shout out to the PDGA for that information. Hopefully we'll have that pretty much every week. As long as we have that, people will be able to see. You'll be able to see your name. It's like almost like checking out the old PDGA magazine.
Oh, my God. I thought this was a long-winded way to say we're firing Dana.
No, it's not.
Because, I mean, come on.
I mean,
right there's his job.
Baby steps, Terry. Baby steps.
Dana, how do you have time for us anymore? That's my question.
I'm just a little hurt right now about all the AI BS that you got going on here. Steve Gans, you're going to get a nasty email from me tomorrow.
Yes, Steve, quit making everything better at the PDGA, man.
Yeah. I don't want to see all my results and all my ratings.
Don't worry, your name won't be up there. It's only top 3.
Ouch, what a return. All right, Dana, before we get any farther, please plug the newest disc. This is your one shot. Plug the disc that people can go out to support you and to support your efforts. He's got it on hand.
You know he does.
God. All right, what is it?
It's the Roaming Thunder 2 Swirly CD2. You can find it from your favorite place to buy discs, whether it's local, online, or the Discmania store online. A couple dollars goes to me, something like that every disc. But artwork's pretty sweet. Manny Trujillo killed it. They fly really nice. Thank you for letting me plug it. Yes, I was ready. I was going to plug it even if you didn't give me the go-ahead. So how's that?
Well, we're glad to set you up for it. You said swirly?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, as you know, some of the swirly plastic comes out swirlier than others.
Okay. I'm not getting my jab in there. Not at all. All right, Dana. So let's recap before we get to actual results. It's awesome you got the disc. Please, yes, everyone go out and support Dana and his efforts and what's going on there. We see the Signature Series come out for a number of the players over there. But last week, when we thought we might get you, you were actually doing some great work at the National Park and Rec Show. I assume it was great work, but the idea is great, and hopefully things went well for you guys. Explain to everybody what you were at and what that's like.
Yeah, so I was at the annual National Recreation and Park Association trade show and conference. Was there with Disc Golf Park, promoting our disc golf course solutions and our new multi-golf, which is basically we've developed a base that you can play foot golf and disc golf in the same space. We're pushing that for more towards urban areas and smaller spaces. It's not meant for your traditional bigger disc golf courses, but entry level, why not double up on the space? But anyways, a lot of the park and rec professionals from all over the world, U.S. are there, and with that, we are there promoting disc golf. DGA was also there, Innova, Dynamic Disc. So we're all there promoting disc golf in our own ways. Disc golf park, of course, we're promoting the full solution. Trying to make it as easy as possible to establish a disc golf course and do it right the first time. So, but it was good. I was busy, talked to a ton of people, and one of the big takeaways that I'm coming away with this year is I don't think I explained disc golf to one person, where that hasn't always been the case in the past. So disc golf, it's growing, and this is just one small way to note the growth. But I can remember in years past having to explain disc golf, and I'm having to explain disc golf. And this year it was more so just having conversations and finding out if their community has disc golf or needs disc golf.
Yeah, certainly one of my favorite opportunities of the year is going to, I've been to the national show once or twice, but I've also been to the Wisconsin Park and Rec show, which is, by what I've heard, one of the larger shows in the country. That's not the national show. And to have a booth, to be offering up disc golf, to work with the Wisconsin Disc Sports Association, in my case, which I sit on the board of, and just to, like you said, have all of these people that are usually decision makers or the ones that are gathering up the information, to have them approach you and like you said, no longer asking, well, what is this thing that we're looking at or we're throwing frisbees into? They're saying, hey, we know about this, and this is in our 5-year plan, this is in our 10-year plan, our master plan, whatever the case might be. Or now they're getting to a point where they're actually doing a little bit of research and say they'll talk to you. And then they might go talk to a competitor in Dynamic Disc down the road, or DGA, or whomever else is at the show, and they're just there gathering all that right information, and it's awesome to see. It's if there's one thing I could do full time that I think I would genuinely enjoy doing 40 weeks a year, going to shows of that nature would be something I personally would be all over. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a W for disc golf. With us and all the other companies there, and that these park and rec folks seeing multiple disc golf companies, I'd say that's a good thing. It means that we're there, and lost my train of thought. Ashley just walked.
Well, just that we're there, and what I think you're probably saying is we're there, and that legitimizes the sport. When I always remember going to sometimes either the park and rec shows or the Phi-Ed shows, and there would be the one person that's starting a brand new game, like they're trying a hybrid of tennis and football, and they're trying like a hybrid of 9 different games, and they're there pitching their product, and they've got their prototypes, and you're always like, huh? But now, and that's that one person that's kind of got a one-off idea. When you're at these shows and they see a DGA, they see an Innova, they see a disc golf park, and so on and so forth, and a Dynamic Disc, plus you guys, they're like, wow, this is serious. There's 4 or 5 or 6 of you guys, so you guys must mean business, and this must be a legitimate thing. And so I think when you say it's a W for all of disc golf, I couldn't agree more. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want good courses, and we want them installed, hopefully, with professional equipment by good designers. And a lot of our manufacturers are all recognizing just that. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was why I missed last week. But let's talk about last weekend's events before we dive into the USDGC here for a minute. It's been a little bit quiet on tour, with a lot of our mainstays resting up or getting down to Winthrop to practice ahead of time for the championship. But there were some big events. One of those big events was down in Tyler, Texas. The DD and Rose City Disc Golf Club present the Pineywoods Open. 61 total players. It was an A-tier event, and coming back after being down after the first day, it was Cameron Colglazer. He caught Mason Ford and was able to ultimately beat him in a playoff to win $3,000.
Wow. That's a nice payout.
It was pretty strong payout. So Mason finished in second place, 2,200. Finishing in third place was Matty O, 1,275. Tied with him was Freddie Meza, getting 1,275, and then Mr. Greg Barsby rounding out the top 5, and he won 825. So very, very strong payouts. Some good disc golf was played. Not anything out of this world ratings wise. Not to say they weren't great rounds, but Cameron went 1036, 1023, 1037 to get the W. So congratulations to him. Nice job to the Pineywoods Rose City disc golf crew running a big event. They had the event in total had almost 400 players, 392 to be exact. So good stuff there. On the FPO side, 7 total players. Christina Linthcomb won quite handily by 22 throws over Shannon Pendergast. Excuse me. But Christina won $700 in doing so. And she played really good. 929, 958, 963. So almost all 3 rounds above her 931 rating.
And averaged out clearly well above her rating. That averages out to what, 945 or something around there. That's good golf. That's really good golf.
Absolutely strong showing, and strong showing from Texas there. Nearly 400 players. Also, this last weekend, this particular event is one of the hardest events to get into every year. It's one where you need to be sitting on the computer or your phone with a fast internet connection and all your information in. What I'm talking about is the 30th San Francisco Safari. This particular version was sponsored by Anderson Valley Brewing Company, great brewery out in California, but 150 total players. You already mentioned him today, Jamie Thomas. He was the tournament director. Our friend Sean Jack, the assistant tournament director. But on the MPO side, 27 total players, and California native James Proctor came out with the victory. 1041 rated first round. He was not in the lead after the first round though. Jerry Showman, who was out of San Francisco, shot a 72, which was 1048. I believe they were playing, their rounds were, I want to say there were 30 holes. So you played 3 days, 1 round each day is what I understand it to be. And you played 30 holes for that round. So very long rounds, got to be on your game. Beautiful park. Extra holes. I believe there's only 18 regularly, but James was able to win by 3 over Jerry. Jeff Face finished in 3rd place. On the women's side, something I noticed recently, I don't know if you guys have touched base on it, but Owen Scoggins, she's back in the game, Terry.
And it seems like she's probably picking up right where she left off. So exciting, so electric. And it's so great to see her, and hopefully we'll see her outside of California. Now I'm just kind of browsing over Johnny's shoulder. I don't know if any of those are outside of California that she's been at. I don't see any, but if she again leaves California, everybody should watch out, because clearly as she finished in the final 4 way back in, as far back as 2014 when she was really kind of on the scene at a national level, and I watched her finish well at Portland that year. She's just such an awesome player. She's so fun. And then her putting is...
I was going to say, arguably the best female putter on tour. Better than Lisa Fakis. I think she's better than Paige. She has that snap. It's on a rope, and it's just a beeline right to that basket. It is a pleasure to watch her putt. And like you were saying, if we can get her out on, not that we have any say in it, but if she can get out on the tour, she's electric to watch on the green.
And I believe someone just on the board had said that, yes, she is signed up for the Phoenix Ladies Open, and that will be awesome. Unfortunately, I won't physically be there, but that's another place I've seen her. That's obviously over in Arizona, and she has to be one of the odds-on favorites to win it there. with that course being set up just perfectly for her. So that's awesome to see, Dana.
Yeah, she's actually played 6 tournaments. Started out, she wasn't playing early in the year. Her first tournament was July 27th to 28th, the Santa Maria Open, which she won. She's actually won 5 out of the 6 tournaments she's played. So mostly they're out on the West Coast. As you mentioned, she'll be in Phoenix here at the end of the year. It'll be interesting to see what and where we see Own next year, because gosh, she's she left a contender and it seems like she's coming back and she's still a contender. So interesting times here on the FPO side of things, with Europe stepping up and coming over and touring in the US and getting some big victories, and then maybe Own coming back on the scene. So very exciting stuff. Also winning this last weekend in San Francisco, the MP40 division, good friend Shasta Chris. He played some really good disc golf and got himself the victory there. So congratulations to Shasta, Own, and James for winning at
Very
San
cool.
Francisco.
Did I miss something? And I apologize because it struck me a little off guard when I saw it. Congrats to James Proctor, of course. Did I know or realize that he went to Innova? Did I miss the memo, or was that quiet, or was that not quiet? We've seen him with Prodigy. We've seen him with Latitude, right? And then when was that switch at the beginning of the year? I think it was. I'll be the first to admit, he's really busy. He was doing some traveling and going to school, and then he was on tour, and then he kind of wasn't. So it's easy for, call it an excuse or otherwise, I'll say it's easy for me to lose track. But I saw him giving something on Instagram, and I was like, did I know that? Did I know that was Innova?
I'm pretty sure they announced that in the off season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I believe Innova was the presenting sponsor at the event, in addition to the brewery. So very cool. No rest for Jamie Thomas. I mean, putting on that event, turning around, and I'm guessing it was yesterday already or late Sunday night, he gets done running this massive event at the Safari, and then turns around, heads out to the USDGC to have a pretty big week this week.
And I think he's going to do Hall of Fame and then the Pro Tour finale all on this trip.
Holy cow.
I think he's doing the whole loop is what I heard.
Okay.
Wow, and what capacity is he doing these next 2 events at? Obviously, this weekend he's going to be our man behind the mic, leading the live charge with Fulcrum, as Terry mentioned earlier. Do you know what he's doing, Johnny V?
I think he's just Ultra World, doing just follow up, and with the tour finale and the Hall of Fame, which is the NT finale. I think it's just Ultra World kind of. My guess is that they're kind of maybe dipping their toe in the water for deeper coverage, because I know they've wanted to kind of expand on that, and maybe they have some ideas that they're going to kind of test out before next year, which would make a lot of sense. I honestly, sometimes I say I don't know anything, and I really do, but this time I honestly don't know.
I believe you every time when you say you don't know anything.
I'm glad. I'm really glad.
You really sell it well.
I'm good. I'm good that way.
Right on. So there was one other big A-tier, relatively big A-tier out on the East Coast. We did see some USDGC players signed up for it. I'm talking about the Stafford Open in New Jersey. 47 total MPO players, and it was kind of the Matt Bell show. We've seen Matt Bell feasting this year, winning a number of A tiers as well as an NT. And this weekend he kind of went off. He wasn't winning after the first round. He was down a stick to Mike Mosier, but they both played really good, shooting 1037, 1045, and then round 2 is when it all happened. Matt Bell went 50. Which was a 1070 rated round, beating Mosier by 7 throws. And then ultimately the third and final round beat Mosier by 1 throw. And what did he win by? 9? No, not 9 throws, but 7 shots. Mosier was 5 clear of third place, which was Reed Friscara. So Matt Bell continuing to shoot pretty good disc golf. Previously in previous years, he was one of those players where I think I've talked about this, but he'd kind of be up and down, riding the wave. He'd shoot that smoking hot round, but wasn't always following it up. And it seems like he's found his groove. Of course, he signed with DGA this year, so throwing a DGA bag with probably a couple of Discraft discs mixed in there. But whatever he's doing, he's doing it right. And man, could this be someone that shows up on the lead card at USDGC? I think it might be he's one of my picks for a newcomer on the lead card.
I would never bet on that because it's so hard. USDGC is so competitive. But Matt Bell is one of those guys. I think I would safely say you would see him on a featured card. So that could be the second card. And if he makes his way to the first card, that's just bonus. But man, USDGC is tough. It's such a grind to compete well. And I don't know how many times he's played the event. Probably, I'd assume a couple, maybe two or three.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody have to run. We'll get our stats department on that. Have to double check that. Which is really just a long pause for Johnny to make a few clicks.
Well, for sure one, because I just went back 1 year. He's got at least 1 year, so he has some experience on the course. But ultimately, it's so hard to say at that particular event. But I think he's definitely been playing hot. So
yeah, I was just going to say,
it wouldn't shock me to see him up there.
If you want to talk a little bit about, we'll borrow from Ricky, who can't use it this week. If you want to say that momentum, clearly, Bell playing well. In the last few weeks. That was not my intention at all, I swear. But with Bell playing as good as he has been these last few weeks, he's clearly, maybe it's a putting stroke, maybe it's a confidence, whatever it might be. It seems to be clicking for him, which is the takeaway there. So, maybe there's a dark horse or some kind of sleeper pick or however you want to word it, that might be a good pickup right now.
Absolutely. And however you want to word it, since we're talking USDGC, how can you pick against Macbeth at this point? Can you?
No, I mean you can, but you better be getting some odds on it. You better be getting some really good odds. I was listening to one of the other podcasts. I think it was the Ultra World podcast, and they were talking. If you go to coolbets.com, COOL, you can actually. I don't know if it's still open, but you can place wagers on USDGC. They've got a couple head-to-head matchups, and where you actually just bet on who's going to finish better. And one of them that I wanted to get in on was the Anthon Johnny McRae, based on some of the odds. I think they favored McRae pretty heavily, and I was
really?
I was like, just the way Anthon plays there, knowing that course as well as he does, I was like, I got a little itch to bet. I didn't, but I thought it would have been cool. And then they give odds on straight up odds, and Macbeth is like plus 100, and some of the other guys are 100. I forget exactly. I'm not great with bets or with gambling numbers, but ultimately, if you go out there, you can kind of drill down and find USDGC. It's kind of cool just to see some of the matchups that they put up. Like there's a Paige versus Kristen heads up. Who's going to finish better? They favored Paige, so if you bet on Paige, you win less versus.
What's your pick on those two, Terry?
I'm sorry.
What's your pick on those two, Paige and?
Obviously, I think the world of them both, but Paige's experience with being there before, I think Paige is a little bit more hungry for a performance. I even saw Kristen, I think this was thanks to the Latitude Instagram stories. She said, yeah, I've got a game plan and I'm excited, but I'm also kind of tired. She's like, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, but I was kind of looking forward to the week off. And so right there, that just tells me, and that's not to say she has a defeatist mentality, but that tells me, she's kind of playing it as a bonus situation, and maybe she'll be more relaxed, and that will actually bode well for her. But I think Paige has had her sights set on this longer and with a little more determination. Therefore, I give the nod to Paige in this case. I think Paige just really wants it, so to speak, more. I don't blame her.
I think it's more the experience.
Kristen's on a 5, 6, 7 week, and on the tail end of a 5 or 6 week tour here in the U.S., out of her element in terms of traveling around another country, having a great time and playing great golf. But I think she's ready to be done as well.
Okay.
So that would be my take there. I did not see anything cool. Maybe we'll get a clarification on that site. A few people have been talking about it. If you go to when I typed in cool bets, BET,
maybe it's cool bet.
It brought me to Yahoo. So, but maybe
there it is. Cool bet, not cool bets.
Okay,
so
cool
it's singular.
Bet.
Cool bet.
Interesting.
And you can kind of drill down at some point. And
sounds like I got some money to throw around here tonight.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, it probably is. Now, I do want to look at that because I have to wonder, Dana and Johnny, I'll ask you guys.
Okay.
When someone doesn't show up or I've got a little insider info about something happening, that might be a place where it could actually pan out?
Correct.
Because if you're betting Anthon versus McRae, and I'm not saying I did talk to him this time, but I talked to anyone, namely an Anthon, and Anthon's like, yeah, dog, I ain't going to be there. Like, I'm going to go put a lot of money. I don't know how that works with the betting situation.
I would be willing to bet if somebody withdraws beforehand, they probably nullify the bet.
Dang.
I mean, that would be a guess of mine. I didn't read into a lot of the details. I literally just opened it up and was kind of perusing it, and I was like, oh, there's one or two bets out here I could see actually putting some money on. But
all right. Speaking of money, quick shout out, Kevin Havinga and Jimbo Slice both have super chatted us tonight. So quick shout out to you guys. We appreciate it. All right, Johnny. Or should I say Dana?
Yeah.
Anything else that that jumps out at you with regard to the USDGC? We're not going to give you a full hour to discuss it.
We got Jay Redding in the green room. He's ready.
The Despair and Digital green room. But I want to know, like, what are your thoughts as, you just talk about a confidence in Macbeth. What do you think about the Wysocki news today?
Gosh, it's devastating. I knew that he was, that the Lyme hit him pretty hard, and was hoping that he was going to hop on the antibiotics. I heard that he was maybe taking holistic approach.
Well, here's what we don't know. I don't know if he's, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if he's actually made any statement about that. He has thanked a company actually located here in Milwaukee for helping him with a holistic thing. And that doesn't mean he's not taking antibiotics. It might just mean that he's doing that above and beyond, helping him with, diet and other things. So I don't want it. I don't want us to jump to any conclusions unless you know differently. But yeah, but I'm just saying
I can't say for certain, but with a lot of people that I've talked to about Lyme and just people sharing their experiences, a lot of times once you take those antibiotics, you're feeling better within a couple days.
Correct. If he's not taking them and you're listening, Ricky, go to a hospital and get him. Period. Don't be doing it.
It's really on a very serious note. Everybody, please make sure you're taking precautions when you're in these places that are prone to have ticks, whether it's Wisconsin or the New England area, Nantucket. They're all, these heavy zones that have lots of ticks and tick-borne illnesses. Please take it very serious with checking yourselves after the rounds and spraying yourself with whatever type of spray you're comfortable using. Myself, I like to use the Lyme Warrior?
Mm-hmm.
War Paint. Their War Paint. That's what I use. It's a bunch of essential oils, but it's supposed to help with the ticks. It's very scary. Lyme is
serious.
So wide ranging, and for to hear what happened to Rick at Green Mountain and just being so sick there and playing through it, and then to find out that he is still so incredibly sick and can barely walk. Very scary stuff. Gonna be thinking and thinking of Rick and hoping that he gets healthy in whatever way he chooses to do so. But I hope he gets healthy sooner than later, because it was a surprise to see that he's not playing the next 3 events, because thought that he might have been on the tail end of getting healthy here by the start of USDGC. But an absolute contender. I think he's got a number of top 5 finishes. Although Winthrop hasn't always treated him well. We've seen him outside the cash there in the last, I'd say, 10 years. He may have missed cash 1 or 2 times, and also finished towards the end of the cash line versus towards the top. So he's he's competed for the win. He's also found himself on the outside, and unfortunately this year he's going to be inside at home watching the coverage with the rest of us. But get healthy, Ricky, and I hope take some antibiotics, or you're taking them, or they start to work, or whatever the case is. Doesn't matter. We just want you healthy.
100% agree.
Yeah, and my only final thought on that is, and again, knock on wood, I haven't had any personal experience with having the disease, but the fact that he today could make an announcement saying he is already claiming the next 3 events, taking himself out of contention, that should speak volumes of how he feels and where he's at mentally and physically. Because, I mean, some of those events, you're talking 2 and 3 and 4 weeks out. I mean, the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships isn't till the 18th. You know, that's obvious. I'll do some math for you guys. 17 days away, and he's already, staking claim that he doesn't plan on being at it. And that, I don't know, to me, that's what kind of hit me the hardest when he was saying, yeah, I'm withdrawing from events that are still weeks out. So hopefully, like you guys said, he's on the mend and can get it under control, and hopefully this is yet another cry to everyone else to do everything we just said about checking and whatnot. So
yeah. On a lighter note, more positive, I did speak with Kale LaVisca, who had another bout of Lyme flare up here after the Mad City Open, and sounds like he's back feeling 100% or close to it. So again, everybody, check yourself. But so we're gonna miss Rick at the USDGC. But man, there's a ton of other great players there. And one thing I'm looking at outside of who's gonna win and who's on the top card is who will be our top finisher from outside the U.S. We've got a number of great players. We've got some Canadians that can compete, and Martin Hendel, Thomas Gilbert, and then of course we've got a ton of great European players, starting with of course Simon Lizotte, Silver Lat, who's been on tour for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I feel like it's been a little bit longer than that. They've been here since Worlds. But anyways, he's been here playing very well, has a super strong sidearm. We all know Winthrop sets up good for the sidearm. Albert Tam, Vino Michaela, then a bunch of other up and coming Finnish players. This Oskari kid who won the Finnish championships recently and has been playing tremendous. He's going to be there, but I believe it's going to be his first time. It's going to be a lot of these guys' first time, and Winthrop is not always kind to first timers.
No, I think there's too many nerves. There's too much course knowledge that can go into that course that I would never feel safe placing a bet on a first year person, no matter who they were. Even I would say, I know it's not Paul's first time, but even as well as Paul has been playing, if he came to this event and it was first time, I would have a hard time putting money on him. There's just so much course knowledge out there that can be had on some of the tricky holes. 14, 15, 17, 18, you can rack up double bogeys with the wrong approach on those, or the wrong drive, or the wrong putt. But ultimately, you just have to play smart.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Paul Macbeth. Do you remember what he did in 2008 at his first USDGC?
Tanked?
Opposite of tank. He was on the lead card final round.
Okay, well that's good. Wow.
He did shoot under 1,000 rated on his final round there, but that was our long-haired hippie
Michael Joe
Macbeth.
Okay.
The Bieber haircut, Macbeth.
Yeah, I believe that
Mike
was
Bieber.
2008. 2007 was his Am Worlds year, and I believe USDGC was his first. That was his first year there. But yeah, unless you're Paul Macbeth, generally USDGC isn't going to treat you very well with your first time through. And there's a bunch of first timers there this year, whether European or from the United States. So, but who are a couple of your guys' picks outside of Paul Macbeth? Who are come final round are we going to see on the lead card?
It's hard to bet against KJ USA.
Yeah.
He's always performed I think he's played there twice. He's performed well. He did really well last year. Was in it up until hole 17. Eagle has been very close to winning it. And then we got the shortened year, which is was the year he
Coling?
was.
Oh yeah, when
Eagle was on a run
Sure,
and they
sure.
they had to shorten it. Eagle was
Yep.
whatever. So it's hard to bet against Eagle. Sexton is a former winner, so there's that. My question: do you think? And I don't want to draw this out too much. The one person I'm so confused about is Emerson Keith. Like, I want to believe he's going to do well, but having just had this huge life change coming to USDGC, I don't know where his head's going to be at. Is he going to be? Is his head going to be back home thinking about his family now? Is he going to be fully invested in this event? I mean, he's proven that he can compartmentalize like he did at Worlds, but I just have a hard time. And he's an odds-on favorite to play well. I just personally have this tearing notion that he's just not going to, that he's going to disappoint. And I hope that's not the case, but it's so hard to think otherwise. So I don't know.
I think one of the people who's got a pretty stacked card tomorrow is Chris Dickerson. Chris Dickerson, obviously very good. Yeah, that's an understatement. But his control, the way he can dissect things, the way I feel like I've seen him play as safe as he needs to play or play aggressive. I just feel like Chris Dickerson, and I feel like, of course, being a good putter always helps you every single week in and week out. But when you can hit some of those tweeners, when you're picking up that bonus birdie from time to time because you're so good from Circle 2, I feel like this is a place where that is rewarded more than normal at this particular event. Of course, Circle 2 putts are great in any event, anytime. But at this event, between some of the tough approaches and or some of the just the longer par threes, whatever the case might be, I just think your Circle 2 putting that someone like Chris Dickerson is so well known for and is so efficient at, I think you're going to see him having a pretty good week as well. And he gets things started off in, like I said, a pretty solid group tomorrow, playing with Simon Lizotte, Paige Pierce, and I apologize, who I should have resorted these the other way. And who else?
No, I misspoke. I can't remember.
And AJ Risley. So,
oh yeah,
Lizotte, Risley, Pierce, and Dickerson. Sounds like a pretty fun card, and I'm hoping it's getting filmed. I'm not sure if it is or not. I actually reached out to Chris earlier. He said, I don't know. I'm not sure he cares. He's got things to do, but hopefully it gets filmed. So,
yeah, I do like that Dickerson pick. He's got a, strong backhand, very strong, and then but the forehand as well, and add in his robot chicken, whatever status putting, and we got a contender right there. So
we do.
I could see my picks: Macbeth, Sexton, Dickerson, and I'm going Matt Bell, lead card final round.
I like it.
There you go. On that limb.
Flavor of the month. I see how you are.
A quick pick on the spot.
I like it. All right, buddy. Last question, and then we're letting you go. Hot take. Hannah. Wow, she always tells me to take the hot takes. Sorry, Pierce or Kristen Tatar, as I'm trying to spit out all.
I thought you were going to ask Hannah or Jamie Thomas. Who's going to perform better this weekend?
No, wow, I really struggled getting all of this out as my mind was jumbled. All right, Tatar or Pierce, which one do you see finishing higher?
I'm going Tatar just because Paige's aggression, I feel like, can stack up a little bit. She's got the experience there, but if Tatar is, playing just a safe game plan, which it sounded like from the Latitude Instagram, that was her plan. I could see her beating Paige, but Paige clearly could go out there and shoot, 10-20, 10-30. I see her ceiling as being higher, but then also, with how tricky and all out of bounds with Winthrop, some of that aggression can come back to get you. So that'll be one of the races to watch. And, can one of those two get in the cash? We've only seen a couple FPO players in the lifetime of the USDGC, the 21 years, 20 something years,
21, yeah, 21.
21 year history. We've seen Val and, or not Val, but Des and Juliana cash. Has Des cashed?
I'm not sure. We'll ask our next guest who's hanging out waiting. That's a good question to lead with. I don't think so, but.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, boys. Smashies, great to see you. Yeti, I like what you're doing. I'm going to listen. I'm staying up for it. Don't make me regret it.
All right, Dynamite, as always, thank you for joining us. It's glad to have you back. Looking forward to a great week, and we'll likely catch up with you next week, buddy. Have a good one. Peace. All right, Dynamite is stepped out. Thank you so much for the insights. Good to catch up with him. Like I said, it's been a little while. And right away, we're getting right to it. He's hanging out in the Disc Baron Digital Green Room. We've got a question already lined up for him. I never come prepared, but Dana's going to give us one for us, so we appreciate it. Well, let's welcome to the show, Jay Redding. Jay, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, good evening, everybody. JV, Terry, and Smashies. What up?
How you doing?
Good. Doing real good.
Good. So you're traveling around, but we got to get the first question right off, thanks to Dana. Confirm or deny, did Des ever cash at the USDGC?
Yes. So Juliana Korver is the only woman to have historically cashed at the USDGC. Des played in quite a few of them, and she definitely was in contention for cashing and did get hit in the face with a putter right on her way to tee for the last round. So we'll never know on that one. But
that sounds like a Macbeth thing. Did he do that? Who hit her in the face?
He was very embarrassed, believe that.
Oh, we should call him out.
We won't drag him out.
Come on. You're no fun. That's for the after show. For the after show, we go after this guy with a pitchfork. All right. So thank you for joining us. I know we alluded to it last week. Everybody's going to want all the deets, all the down low on what's going on. USDGC action coming in tomorrow, of course. But you're in an RV. You're traveling around and doing stuff. Let's start. Are you at the USDGC? And if so, or if not, why not?
Yeah, well, of course, I'd love to be at the USDGC. Was there last year for the 20th. It was a great time, as it always is. Well, it's a spectacular event. I am preempted this time, though. I'm actually on my way up back home to the home state of Iowa, and I'm being recognized by my alma mater 30 years ago, 1989, Bettendorf High School. They're putting me in their Hall of Honor, so pretty cool. I'll be up there doing, I guess I get a ride in a parade in a 73 Cadillac and throw out some discs at the halftime of homecoming. And I'm going to speak to a few classes as well and tell them what a great life the disc golf tour is.
And that's, I was going to ask, they're recognizing you for disc golf. I know you played college football as well. Is it more of a general,
a Hall of Honor? What's that mean? How's that different from a Hall of Fame too?
Yeah, Hall of Honor. So I was nominated by a friend of the family, Vietnam veteran, wounded Purple Heart, retired full-time career fireman. So, if somebody like that thinks that, what I've done in my life is worthy, I mean, it's, what an honor that is all by itself. But, the Bettendorf Hall of Honor is a way to recognize alumni that have done good in their chosen fields. And I guess my career in disc golf has made an impact. The cool thing is, like Bettendorf High School, as soon as we started the Edge program, of course, I went right back to the high school and the Bettendorf school system and got disc golf going. And they're still doing it today. They're producing disc golfers on a yearly basis out of Bettendorf, besides great football players and other sports. So it's a really cool thing. And I'm super excited to go back. I got some custom Bulldog minis I'll be checking out. So it'll be fun.
So is there anyone else from your high school that people would recognize? Is there another name? Is there anyone else in the Hall of Honor, or mostly maybe some local stars or anybody national?
Well, a couple years older than me, Kelly Brook played on the LPGA tour. And I'm going in, my class is, I'm the youngest by far, 1973 and 1966. a well-known attorney that was a state congressman for 10 years, and a woman that helped create the organization Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So a pretty big organization there too. So I'm in good company. And then some guy throws frisbees for a living. I don't know.
Well, that's fantastic.
Damn it, we don't have any hippies in here. Well, let's get that guy over here and get him in front of the kids or something.
I got a flag flying there.
So USDGC obviously also has a big tie with Edge. We've seen a number of our top professionals helping out in Edge Village. With all the years that I've been there, I've seen literally thousands of kids come over to the USDGC, over to Winthrop, getting some basic instruction, playing some of the games, doing some of the skills and drills. And then, one of my favorite memories, and I think almost every player would concur or agree, when the players are out there during some of the rounds and the kids are lined up on hole 5's driveway, or on hole 1, which is not there this year, but on hole 1's driveway. Like, what an amazing feeling for both the kids and for our players to have thousands of these little guys and girls, spectators, come over and see the USDGC and what it's all about. How has that progressed throughout the years? Maybe is the word.
Well, I think what you're alluding to at the Edge Village really is probably one of the most fulfilling memories that every player that gets to experience that takes away. All the joys and frustrations that technical, mental challenging course of Winthrop Gold brings to you, all can fade or rise in a heartbeat of seeing these kids, and all the energy that they bring, because they really are blown away. Edge and the USDGC pool in, and we bus in kids from all over York County and Mecklenburg counties and the surrounding area, and we try to bring in new classes every year so they all get to experience this. They go and they'll do some hands-on stuff, watch some demos, learn about disc golf, get to try it out, and then they realize, like, wow, this isn't actually just flinging a disc around. And then they get to go over to the course, and when they actually watch today's top professionals, you can see the kids' jaws just start to drop down to their belly buttons, and they really get pumped to see players do well. And of course, the players give back in a little jazz hand and stuff like that, and the next thing you know, they got new fans for life. So it's really pretty cool thing. And that's been going on for a number of years. In fact, that's really one of the cool things I wanted to talk about was the USDGC has been a huge supporter of the Edge program. And really since 2005, the USDGC has contributed $290,000 to help the Edge program do what it does. So, can't say enough about the great things that the USDGC does. Obviously, they also do stuff with Throw Pink, Habitat for Humanity over the years, several other charities. But Edge is definitely the main benefactor from all of the great things that surround the championship. You think all those rocks go to the player's purse, but they really go and they do so much more. So some really good things.
Yeah, and last year the first year that we saw the new collaboration that we're about to talk about, the Chains for Charity? Is that the first time we saw that? And what is changing, if anything, and what's the plan for this year?
Yep. So Chains for Charity was kind of a thing. I watched a lot of golf and experienced what those guys are doing, and they have a similar program. Although just like everything golf, it's like our thousands of dollars are their hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they have corporate groups that donate for birdies, and I'm like, not everybody can go experience the championship. I recommend that you do when you get the chance to. But nowadays, with all the incredible coverage out there, people can watch from home. And what a better way to really get yourself deeply involved with the championship is to pledge for a player, and you get to join them on their team and their journey. We've got some really cool things going on with UDisc Live. live, there's actually a separate link that's for the Chains for Charity, and you can have real-time scoring of how many birdie points your player gets. Birdie points, 3 points for an ace, 2 points for an eagle, 1 point for a birdie. You pledge 50 cents, $1. We even have two, I call them stratospheric donators. They're donating $10 per birdie point for their players of choice. So, that's going to be a pretty fat contribution in the end. And, it's all tax deductible as a 501c3, maybe minus the target if they win something like that. But, it's a great way to give back to growing the game of disc golf. That's what we like to really talk about, how Edge works, is we grow the game. We get people off the couches outside excited about disc golf, and eventually a lot of those kids turn into club members and then league members, and then here they are in the PDGA. And I think over the years, I'll drop some other cool stats that really are just coming to fruition this year. Edge has been around for 17 years. Hard to believe, but we've been toiling and working our tails off to really help the sport and the game of disc golf to grow. Edge has distributed over 100,000 lightweight, age-appropriate discs. So I'll let that number marinate for a minute. Because it's really an amazing feat, I think, and it's just the start of it. These kids are, these discs get used over and over again for years at a time, and we're really helping, I think, move things forward with that. So here's a challenge on the Chains for Charity. We can do this tonight. I actually have, you have to register by the first tee, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So registration runs right up until then. But tonight during the SmashBoxx, and we'll let it go the entire time you guys are do your after show for the next 6 hours.
What are you trying to say?
I think we've gained a reputation.
You got to keep that up. I've got 2 Disc Golf United VIP gift cards, so they're good for $200 off of an order that you put in through DGU. So pretty significant, and I will definitely give those away to 2 Smashies that are watching this live right now. Want to go over to Disc Golf United, pledge for a player. I'll be able to tell because it all signs up just like a registration for a tournament. They're all time stamped. So I'll take all you Smashies that sign up here in this checkpoint, and I will randomly draw 2 people, and I will notify you. And of course, I'll get back to you guys so you can follow up next week as well.
Sweet. Well, that's very cool. Thank you. So that
Thank you very
encourages
much.
all of our Smashies to go out right now. If you're listening to this podcast, I don't know, 4 or 5 days from now, you're late and you took your first bogey or your last bogey.
This will go out at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Okay, so so make sure you are registering right away. I'm going to do it before the end of the show myself. I feel like I am one of the constant supporters of FPO disc golf, so I've got to, and we just got done talking about them. I'm definitely going to be pledging on behalf of both Paige and Kristen Tatar, and I want to. I'd love to see them rack up a ton of birdies. So I got to figure out what level I'll be at, but I'm going to definitely be pledging. Now, with that, you can pledge for as many people as you want. Is that correct, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the great prizes that we have available is we actually are giving away 3 game-used 2019 USDGC targets. There are a couple limitations, like we don't give away the perpetual throw pink target or the Winthrop target, but all the other targets are up for grabs. None of the special poles come with it, but all of the targets with the chains and the tops, and we'll get you, if you want to sink it in the ground, we'll get you a collar. If you want to have it portable, we'll get you a base like that. But those are all available for folks that choose the winner of the USDGC, choose the person with the most birdie points, and then we'll put everybody into a kitty and $10 per contribution. So if you were to contribute $50, you'd get 5 chances at that other target. We have a players pack items from the U.S. Championship, as well as some really cool custom artwork from Ben Hopwood this year, and we'll get some autographs on those too for people. I think Paige Pierce made you pay a little bit last year, Terry, if I remember.
Yeah, she did, and you know what? I couldn't be more thrilled about it. It's so awesome seeing. The one division, one champion mentality, and then seeing our fierce competitors. And we've had them for so many years, as we opened with you, and talking about Des and Juliana, and seeing as our next generations of top FPO competitors continue to get qualified and to show up and put their own stamp and mark on the event. I couldn't be more excited to, like I said, go out and support both of them on this effort. Maybe I'll pick up some MPO player too, but I definitely have to go out and support those two women for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at my receipt last year for $25. I think is what Paige made me pay last year. So
excellent.
All good with
that's
that.
awesome. I think this year I'm gonna go with Jordan Castro.
Okay.
I was scrolling through. Jordan's a long time Smashy.
Like it.
Yeah, I like it.
You know what? I think I'm gonna put some support behind Castro's
I
name.
like that. Okay.
All right. Hey, Jordan's been supporting the event from the beginning, so you heard that, Jordan. You know what to do. Cha-ching.
Make me punish me, Jordan.
Yeah. Call him. Wait. Yeah, definitely punish him. Punish him.
Almost got weird
I mean,
there.
it's cool. I mean, I played last year, and I guess I'll brag on myself just a second that I was 100% inside Circle One, but I really did kind of motivate myself just a little bit, going like, "All right, guess what this birdie's for? To make my entire family pay for charity."
Perfect. And we'll go back to exactly what you said a moment ago. Over 100,000 age-appropriate, weight-appropriate discs being put into the hands of kids literally all around the country. Just incredible how Edge has continued to grow. And there's other ways, and I don't want to sidetrack too much because I know this is USDGC, but there's also other ways that you have teamed up with events. Just for anyone that may not already know, what are some of the other ways when people want to contribute to Edge, and we'll say what almost feels like a passive way even for an event or as a tournament director?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's a couple really easy ones that are pretty awesome because we're a 501c3, which is an official charity recognized by the U.S. government. You can do Amazon Smile. And anything you buy from Amazon will kick back, just a half of a percent.
Sure.
But believe it or not, that turns into several $100s quarterly.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had enough people that did that, that would turn into thousands of dollars quarterly. A lot of corporations, like we just got 2 checks from Dell Computers, thanks to those employees that put in volunteer time. And then the Dell contributes to the charities of their choice for them volunteering at like a 5K race or something like that. So check in with your corporate places that you work. These are tax deductible donations, so a lot of times your companies will match different things that you do. And then of course there's the tournament charity program that's been very successful over the years. This year we're going to blow it out of the water because we've teamed up with the Next Generation Tour, and we've got 140 events that we're working with around the country. Almost all of them are PDGA events, and they make a contribution. They pledge to make a contribution to Edge. The tournament gets to use our 501c3 to garner more sponsorship, and we give them a beautiful package of support stuff from Keen footwear, Innova Champion disc, grip equipment. Zuka carts new this year, and it helps the events raise even more funding. We gave away $40,000 in grants last year to schools when we go to conferences and we meet these teachers that just don't have money, but they've got the desire to teach disc golf.
Well, it's and like you said, when you have it's so easy to connect yourself with, like you said, the Amazon Smile program, to go out, find it. It's an option right there, so you can connect your account to it, and it only makes sense to be doing anytime you're making your purchases, like you said. So awesome to see. Now, this year things are a little different. We're going to segue slightly with money. Things kind of got a little bit of a shakeup as recently as last week, as we were talking about pay-per-view at the event this year. First of all, do you have a take on that? And second of all, what is that going to mean for our players, for our viewers, for charity?
A portion of the...
Yeah, exactly. Kind of break down, how that all ties together.
So, pay-per-view. There's so many new players that are now involved with disc golf. This pay-per-view sounds like, whoa, shocking. Those of us, and I've listened to you guys' show talking about this last week, we've been here before. Mm-hmm. And hey, hats off to John Dusler. Those guys tried something. They were a little ahead of their time. what we're talking about here is sustainability, and we're going to hear sustainability a lot in the very near future, because disc golf is really at another tipping point. We've probably been on a few of these, but this one's pretty big, because we've got a lot of people involved now that are actually like, look, if I'm going to do this and put this time into it, like you guys, there needs to be some financial incentive. It costs a lot to be on the road. It costs a lot to be away from your family, and those bills still got to get paid. So, in order to have some of the great things that people, players and fans are now starting to expect, like really good coverage, not just grainy, shaky, even world championship footage from 1996 that, it was all sketchy, and now we're getting crystal clear high def and things. So people have expectations, and these expectations, we want to meet them, but I think there has to be some kind of a give and take. And pay-per-view, the USDGC, they have pushed the envelope on so many things over the years, many of them for excellent results, and many of them for nice try, but they're trying. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where I'm at with this. I will definitely pay my $10, and I'm going to give it a shot. I'll be with my family on Saturday for a big barbecue, and we're going to have a watch party in the background. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I hope other people give it a shot. And when you pay some funds, you have every right to be a critical vote on that. It's just like voting for an election. The PDGA elections have dismal turnout, but people still want to give their voice, and I don't give a lot of credit to those voices because they didn't participate in the process. So get the pay-per-view. And support what's going on. They're trying to do something for the future, and who knows? I mean, we might all go there. I mean, but TV is not free, right? Yeah. Even if you watch something on the air, you're still sitting there through the commercials. And if you're like me, I value my time way over money, and so you're going to trap me for graham cracker commercials, and I feel like I paid.
Yeah. No, exactly. And there's, and without beating it entirely to death, we'll have a media conversation, a more in-depth one a little later, but there's unknowns, and we're still not, I think the only challenge that I hear, and I think we all can be a little bit on our toes, we can be critical, we can be hopeful, all of those things all in one. We have to still understand, even with pay-per-view, it's still not going to be ESPN. And that's probably the one, and I only bring that up because that's the one comment or the thread that I continue to see over the last week is, well, if I'm paying for this, it better be perfect. It's not going to be. Like, I will speak on their behalf, and just like I would on our own, it's not, still can't be perfect. We're still dealing with,
we're hoping for good.
Tens of thousands of dollars as opposed to millions and billions of dollars. So we're hoping it's going to be good. We're assuming it's going to be good. It may even be great. It's not going to be perfect. So let me just set that expectation out there for everyone. We're all got to have a little bit of slack there.
Jamie Thomas messes up a player's name, I'm demanding my money back.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but it is exciting. It's an exciting time, and we said it last week. If it goes well, it may set a precedent or at least give us insight. That's not going to say we're going to react a specific way for sure, but it may set a precedent and give us some insight and maybe a new playing field to at least step onto and decide where do things go from here.
We're stealing all their good ideas.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
we'll definitely do that. So,
I mean, if everybody paying $10 allows us to go from 4 cameramen to 8 cameramen and have a beautiful studio and some hardwired type of things, I mean, these are all steps in the right direction. Yep. And I'm willing to give it a shot.
Exactly.
I hope other people are too.
Yeah. Cool. Now, last year I saw you and Des at the Hall of Fame Classic. You were inducted into the PDGA Hall of Fame last year, Des the year before. But we don't necessarily, Johnny and myself, maybe more so me, don't necessarily see you week to week out at all of our biggest NTs and Pro Tour events. And then people naturally are clamoring, well, where are they? What are they doing? Do they just always make hot sauce? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But seriously, week to week, where might people find you? What are some of those things that are keeping you guys, not necessarily at every big event?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Just because I did listen to Eric Oakley's interview with you guys the other week with Johnny with JV, and it was pretty refreshing and troubling at the same time to hear players that are out there beating it on a daily basis from event to event, just like we were, 15 years ago, just like Scott Stokely was 25 years ago. And we're, running the hamster wheel. And he sounds just like some of us sounded back then, just sounds like Scott Stokely and those guys back then. So, I get it. And one of Des and I's philosophies from the very beginning were like, look, the only way that we can really vote in this process is with our attendance. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with like I haven't been to the Beaver State Fling, unfortunately, for several years. And that's one of my favorite events of all time. But if it doesn't make sense in a travel schedule, then I'm not going out of my way to participate in that type of a process. And I think that was the big message I heard from Eric was like, somebody please make this thing flow in a realistic, basis, right? I mean, it's I get it. I get all the problems in this working wheels of cogging of volunteers. However, for the health of the players, that these courses are getting to be 10,000 feet on a weekly basis, and our bodies are finite. We've only got a shelf life of so long, and we're seeing young guys like Eagle and a back and a knee and an elbow, and yep, that's going to happen more and more. So we need to have some of these things happen for the tour sooner than later. So that's the long answer of saying, like, Des and I have always done what we feel that we want to do. And when following the national tour makes sense, then we do it. This year, both of us, maybe not being able to compete at that high level that we used to. We've got other interests going on. Obviously, Edge is rocking for me. Des is working super hard with the PDGA and creating a new, some new programs in there with the youth. But we've been traveling as well. We went and played in New Zealand to start the year. We hosted yet another, our 11th disc golf cruise, and we're heading to Japan before the year is over to work with the United States Air Force for 2 bases over there. So it's been a big year for us, even if you haven't seen us on a weekly basis. I still have 20 PDGA events on the schedule for this year.
Wow. Yeah, and that's just it. That's one of the things that I think I continue to love about our sport is there are so many ways now that you can branch off to, you don't just have to be at the Pro Tour and the National Tour to have a impactful, fulfilling, and sometimes even mildly lucrative life or lifestyle. That to me is all a sign of growth. Think about 20 years ago, like you were saying, you played, you maybe, if you were lucky, somehow didn't lose, your entire life savings in being a touring professional. But now there are so many other components to being out on the road where it's not even just your play that is the most crucial component all the time. There's other things you can be doing. And on a very micro level, look at AJ Risley, who for the last 3 to 5 weeks has been kind of nursing his wrist and trying to heal and get better, and we had no problem putting him back into a media role. He did commentary, he did cameras for me. He was just kind of filling some of those other roles, and I think we're going to see more of that. These multifaceted, these very talented individuals finding other things to do that may either complement or supplement their actual play. And you guys are the ultimate testament to that.
Yeah, we got into the sport a little bit later in our lives. We were both Division I college athletes. So when I didn't turn pro till I was in my early 30s. So that just doesn't happen. And we realized right away, like, look, as great and as fun as this is, if this is going to be sustainable for us, there has to be some other things going on. And that's where my skills as being a teacher and, of course, the passion for the sport, we just put a lot of different things together. And, I've always told people, well, had to have my hand in 5 different cookie jars to kind of eke this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very fulfilling. And, traveling again, I'm a time over money guy. So if I'm spending time doing something that I love and I'm passionate about, my life is good.
Yeah, you're winning. I think Charlie Sheen once famously.
Wow.
I don't know if you've got the same Tiger blood.
Bring it back like 2010.
Yeah, let's
blood.
Exactly. And then yet again this year, I know you just said you're going to Japan, but then also every year you still have the collegiate championships, and you work with that, right?
Yeah, yep. That'll be in November this year, and that's a whole new format. And I'd love to come back on in November. Maybe we'll bring Des and talk about, give you a couple 20-year stories. But absolutely, Texas Collegiate's been growing and doing great. Hopefully we'll field another 16 teams from universities and colleges, everything from community colleges to the big boys. Texas Tech University won for the first time this year, and they've been bringing two teams for the last 6 years. So congratulations to those guys, new champions for us to defend for this year.
Well, and then, without getting off into yet too much of a tangent, just the college scene that has grown and thrived, and then we see it at the the collegiate championships and everything that takes place that we saw just in Augusta this last year, or the last few years that it's been in Augusta. This year, switching over to the IDGC, just such an incredible experience that wasn't available when you and I and Johnny, back when we were in college, we got the disc golf club started at UWM, and that consisted of like 5 of us and some custom stamped discs, and that was a win. And now,
we got a basket put in that
we did
campus.
But now you're talking about 20 years later, just the incredible growth and where it's going, and the obviously the possibilities are just endless.
Well, I'll float this out here. I've said this for over the years, and I guess I'll keep continuing to say it until maybe somebody's like, that's actually not a bad idea. Having a college education, no matter what level it is always something to fall back on. Mm-hmm. It allows so much freedom to be able to pursue your dreams and goals, no matter how wild they may be. And you have this in your back pocket. Personally, mine was education. I could all of a sudden, drop out completely, and I could go back to at least substitute teaching at $110 per day. Mm-hmm. That's good money. Mm-hmm. And other people can do the same. I'd love to see the tour perhaps go just during those, summer months. Why wouldn't we allow some of our 19 to 25-year-olds the ability to, in their athletic prime, get a college education and then have the best summer job in the world, traveling around and playing the actual tour?
I think that's hard. I think unfortunately we're past the point of no return on that. But along those lines, I would love to see players maybe utilize the off season. I mean, people don't have to go to a university. There's online college classes. There's so much they can do even at night. We have disc golfers that can practice all day and take classes at night online. I mean, but the thought process is, I'm 100% with you. These people, all of the disc golfers, really need something to fall back on. And what they might never use it, but we all know your athletic prime kind of probably ends in your late 30s for this sport. Some of us, like, as we've seen, Johnny McRae, who can continue to compete with the Open players well into his 40s and beyond. But ultimately, these are things that I think would help out. Get a business background. You don't even have to complete a college degree, but take business classes. It'll help you become a better arbiter of yourself. You can expand on that. I'm highly approving of this type of thing for our players.
We need PJ scholarships for all.
Scholarships, absolutely. They're not that far away.
Yeah,
we've already seen some schools doing it, and I think as some of these edge kids start to get into the collegiate level, I think we'll start seeing that filter out.
Yeah, there's, and you know, it's funny because I think back to specifically a four-time world champ who was literally playing during the day. I would see her out on the course, and then notebook, pen, paper, all that in hand or on computer, sitting in the front seat of the van. And I'm talking about Valerie Jenkins, as she was completing her degree ultimately, even though she was doing it from the road. And I think that might become maybe a little bit more commonplace, but we'll see.
I hope so.
And let's put that full circle. So now Val is still a fantastic disc golfer, but she's gone on to another chapter in her life. And guess what skills she is currently using on a daily basis? It's the stuff that she learned in the School of Higher Education that's helping her Bevel Brewing become the success that it is. So, yep, all of it goes to help you be a better person. So, yeah, play disc golf and study at night.
Yeah, exactly.
The way to do it.
What do you think? You know, you're someone that had been around as I don't want to say Kenny was slowly coming out, but Kenny's dominance was just slowing down as you and Des were coming into the game. But Kenny on the mic, you know, he's now slotted to play at least one round tomorrow. It might only be one. It may not even be the whole round, but he is right now in a slot to play for tomorrow and then step into the commentary booth for the remaining 3 rounds. Is that just is that a natural progression? Is that something we should expect to see or hear more of?
Well, I'm luckily I did get to see the champ, and I would say still in his prime.
Okay.
And you know, fantastic person for our sport all the way around. And of course, we all know, you know, he's gotten family going, and he's got these, you know, nagging injuries, which I totally can relate to. It's just so great to see him being at the championship. I hope he's able to complete an entire round. You know, and who knows? I mean, maybe if the champ's feeling spry, he's going to go until he doesn't feel so spry, which might be the whole tournament. Who knows? But it's great to see a guy like that in the commentary booth, because he's been there and seen it all, you know, from darn near the beginning. So his perspective as a true competitor falls right in line with every single person that qualified to play the championship coming up on Wednesday. So his insight's going to be spot on, and very excited to see that. And hopefully we can get him out on more things.
Now, maybe I think we might have glossed over it. Des is not with you right now, and is she going to be back yet? Is she somewhere else, or is she involved with Edge back,
nope,
or anything like?
Nope, she'll be with me in Bettendorf for
okay.
the celebration there, and then we're on our way to Augusta, and the Hall of Fame Classic, and of course we'll be there to induct the new Hall of Fame members. And this is going to be a unprecedented Hall of Fame Classic, because as of last count, we've got 30 Hall of Fame members that will be in attendance in Augusta. So it is truly a spectacular event that we've all kind of rallied together and, you know, said, hey, let's make Augusta the place this year. So it's going to be fantastic. And of course, the PDJ Summit after that, that's right there in Augusta. So
awesome. Yeah. And I know this last weekend I had the pleasure of traveling with Tom McManus out of Gurnee, Illinois, PDGA 1276, low 4-digit guy.
Yeah.
And he and a few other friends were talking about, hey, let's go down to the Hall of Fame. He's not even going to play in it, but just seeing and knowing exactly what you said, so many of the Hall of Famers that are all going to be together, you know, for this, I don't want to call it a pilgrimage, but this, you know, or this trip to everyone being there to reuniting. And like you said, to have such a great gathering of so many of our Hall of Famers at once should be a pretty epic experience for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come on down. Make it. If you're at the championship, just extend that extended vacation and come on down to Augusta.
Will either of you be playing, you or Des, at the event? That event?
I am signed up. Barry Schultz and I battled it out last year in the MP40 division, and there are quite a few more people signed up this year. So there's you can see a Hall of Famer in every division that you want to check out this year, and I'd really clue you into the senior grandmasters, because I'm pretty sure 80% of that division is all Hall of Fame members. So.
That's a good place just to camp out and be like, all right, I'm going to see what our Hall of Famers are made of. That's awesome. All right, Jay. So anything?
Take the bag either.
What's that?
Don't think those guys wouldn't want you to carry the bag for them.
It's the least somebody could do right now, right? If you're going to go out there and spectate, walk right up to them and just politely ask if you could, caddy for them at the same time. It's perfect.
Heard that.
So before we let you go, is there anything else, any other topics or things we need to touch on?
Well, look at this. I'm just kind of chiming into the Disc Golf United here, and we have quite a few. We got a smash bump for sure.
Lovely.
So Smashies have been signing up for the Chains for Charity. Can't thank you, Smashies, enough. Again, the 100% of the proceeds here is going to help grow the game of disc golf through Edge, and as well as go to support and promote women and girls in disc golf through the Throw Pink program as well. So we thank you a lot, and we'll be tallying up that. 2 people will win Disc Golf United VIP cards to the pro shop there. So that'll be exciting. We're always comfortable. I can talk about anything with you guys, but that's really all I've got. I want to throw out a shout out to Anthony Pugh from Texas and Matthew West from Florida. Those guys are our stratospheric pledgers right now,
bravo.
$10. So we want to give them a good shout out. But we appreciate you guys, and there's still time to do it throughout the broadcasts.
All right. Well, I'm going to do it as we probably move into our after show, and we've got a few moments of downtime in between there. I'm going to go out and get myself registered. I've got the site up right now myself.
Already did it.
Johnny already did it.
That's what I did when you guys were having a nice little interview and chat. I made sure to sign up and get Jordan Castro. Castro, no pressure.
Yeah, Castro. You better birdie.
And you better like that.
Quick shout out to another super chatter in Dan Harbeck. He not only super chatted the show, but then he said it sounded like he's going to go out and try and get on the Castro train as well. So, yeah, Dan, we better see Castro ring up at least like 40 birdies. At least. I don't know. I'd like to see that.
I would too.
All right, pal. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for the update. Thank you. Not only just the updates, but also for pushing everything forward the way that you are. And there's a lot of work that you and Des are doing. You do it in front of the crowds and the galleries and the schools and the students and the promoters and the teachers and the instructors. You do it with them, but you also do even more work behind the scenes in order to get us to where we are and to get Edge and all of the other initiatives and the things you work with on the PDGA from a competitive side and a tournament side. So many things that most people don't even realize are happening, and to know you're one of those pillars behind the scenes as well as such a great ambassador in front of everyone. We really appreciate it, and we're really looking forward to seeing more of you in a couple weeks at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see you guys. So last couple shout outs, just because I looked at the chat board for the first time here. I'm glad
that's a scary sign sometimes.
Well, that's yeah, right. Well, I love it though. Everybody can jam in on there. Yes, I am a Cubs fan. Yes, I am a Saints fan. Who dat? And yes, I actually did eat brisket tonight in Kansas City. I had the Z-Man at Oklahoma Joe's. So you guys are all know me better than I thought you did.
They know. Our Smashies are in the know.
Yeah, we got disc golf stalkers out there. We got it all.
And although I don't do this on demand, but you guys deserve it, and I see people wanting it.
All right.
Good night, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Guys.
Thanks.
All
right. Jay, Yeti
Giving
Redding.
us the yell. We love it.
So good to have him, of course. I really want to reiterate that there's so many things that are always going on behind the scenes, and when he gives us updates, just know that comes from passion and commitment way beyond what we're seeing. And I've heard, I've listened to some of the proposals and presentations that him and or Des have given throughout the years, and they're always striving to make things better and work harder. And it's very inspirational, and it's great to see. And I can't say enough about them. So awesome, and thank you very much again. If you go out to Disc Golf United, you can also find it on udisclive.com, and then right there they've got a little link right there that'll bring it to you. But you ultimately will find yourself on Disc Golf United looking for the Chains for Charity, and get yourself signed up. Pick a player or 2 or 10 or whatever the case might be, and make sure you're ready to go before Wednesday's opening round. Pretty exciting.
It is exciting. Exciting like the USDGC exciting? I mean, we're getting some info. We've seen now that the cards have been announced. They were probably done right before our show went live tonight. Someone said that I think Spin is going to be covering the Paige Pierce card. Spin TV will be covering that card with Paige, AJ, Dickerson, and you said somebody else.
Simon.
And Simon, yeah. So that'll be a fun card to watch. So look for that for their featured round 1 card. I'm not sure who Jomez will be covering. If I had to take a wild guess, I'd guess wherever Macbeth is. Just probably throw that out there.
Maybe.
So take a look, or maybe Sexton. It could be a Sexton type thing, because that would be would make sense as well.
No, I can't imagine, and I'm nothing more than pure speculation. I can't imagine they would go anywhere but Paul.
Just to have all 4 rounds of his covered.
Well, that's no,
not him particularly, but I mean, in theory.
Yeah, as he's going for the Grand Slam and some other big-time stuff.
Jeremy confirms that they are covering the Macbeth card.
Oh, well.
Thank you, Jeremy Humbert.
There you go. I mean, and if Jeremy says it, we must believe it.
I'm just going to believe it because it's on our chat board, and our Smashies wouldn't lie to us.
Never. Or mislead us, right? No, I fully believe that would only be the logical place to take it. Oh, I'm getting an emergency flash flood alert.
Flash flood alert in our area. Until 1:30 a.m. So
it's going to be raining birdies.
I hope so, Jordan. Better be raining birdies. We don't have to worry about that in my particular area. There should be no flash flooding on where I live. Maybe in just the general area, but not.
I love my alert, too. It says, in this flash flood warning, this area till 1:30 a.m., avoid flooded areas.
Yeah, well, some people think they can just drive through those things and they get stuck.
Avoid flooded areas.
You have to actually tell people.
No, they might as well. The next line should be, please don't drown. Thanks.
Yeah. Don't breathe water.
Okay. And a full-fledged update on the Brewers. They had recently completed
they blew
their
it
victory.
In the 8th.
They blew it?
In the 8th, yeah.
But then still went on to win?
No.
They lost?
They lost.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
This is not...
Terry's over here all confused.
I am so sad.
I know.
Oh, my
gosh. You can tell.
No, I seriously thought they won.
No, they did not. They Hader, our closer, blew it in the 8th, unfortunately.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were not able to close out the game. So they lost 4-3. But as I was saying on the board, we were on this broadcast when I saw that Yelich busted his knee. And at that point, we were down like 4 or 5 games. And I just said, well, that's it for the season.
But it wasn't.
And it's unfortunate. But then the Brewers went like 12-3 or 12-5 to finish
Some
up.
MVP he isn't.
And
go on.
The Cubs ended up tanking and doing their Cubs thing, and it's true. I mean, and ultimately, we had a run at the division championship. We just couldn't close it out. Tonight stunk, but ultimately we have got a good team, and Yelich will be back next year, and hopefully we're gonna have 1 or 2 pitchers back from getting hurt and all sorts of stuff. So ultimately,
I genuinely thought they had one.
Nothing but sprinkles. That's how I considered this. It was all bonus, anything into the playoffs. So better luck next year, and we'll move on and not talk about it anymore. No.
All right. So I think we're ready to go into an after show. I don't know if you have any actual real news here remaining. I've got some after show.
I've got some after show stuff I want to talk about too.
Some interesting things that I saw and read that have nothing to do with disc golf.
Everything I have to do has to do with disc golf.
I doubt.
I'm going to lay into somebody.
All right. Oh, that sounds dirty.
Not dirty.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to close things out. I mean, you got to close with Jay with such great insight and info from him. Please take the next few minutes while we close things down and then bring you in the after show. Go out, get registered for the Chains for Charity. We appreciate it. Ryan Pilcher out on the board, also giving us a super chat action. And I'm going to give the shout out along with it. He said the Samui Swine registration opens tomorrow morning. And I'm going to tell you right now, I spent somewhere between 2 to 4 hours further researching the Samui Swine and the Asia Open, and I'm way ahead of myself. I realize it, but January, February, heading back to Thailand, I'm excited. So yes, that is something worth mentioning, and we could have a whole show dedicated to that later someday. All right, we're going to close it out. We're excited for you guys to join us in the after show. Like we said, we got disc golf, non-disc golf, USDGC, continued chatter, and other things. But for now, we're going to shut down the regular show. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Dynamite and his updates, Johnny's new fancy scrolling stuff, thanks to the PDGA, and Jay Redding and Chains for Charity. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SmashBoxxTV Podcast 267 After Show. Here we are on the eve. I feel like we were just here a year ago.
We were.
Oh, on the eve of the USDGC, the final PDGA major of the year. Well, of course, the biggest tournament that remains, although we have a few really big ones that are immediately followed up by this, which plenty of conversation and discussion can still be had. Let me lead right away with that and just ask, should there, if we're going to continue to have significant events, and I don't want to downplay them too much, but they're not a major, so significant events after the USDGC, should there be a 1 week break?
Yes. I think we should definitely have a 1 week break before and after majors. I think I've said that before. It just makes sense to me. Let the players come down from a week of stressful play and actually be able to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the plan is for next year, but I've heard that...
Well, with scheduling, you don't know the plan.
Well, yeah, it's because the PDGA hasn't got the schedule out yet. And I heard that Hall of Fame might not be an NT next year. So we'll see. I mean, a lot of rumors flying around right now.
Even if it's not an NT, and I'm not to downplay, even if it's just an A tier, let's say it's an A tier, should it be the week after?
Yes. If it's an A tier, I've got no problem.
Oh, okay.
Because to me, the events you need to hit are the Pro Tour and the National Tour events, and the majors, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But you can choose not to go to an A tier, and it doesn't really hurt you. Like, you're not, the points, the disc golf points don't matter, so to speak. But the National Tour and the Pro Tour, you're fighting for position, which equals money, which equals, those are things you have to hit. So So having that week break, if it's an A tier, let the people who want to go play and want to continue to grind it out, let them do that. Don't force our players to do that.
Okay.
The pros. That's my take.
All right. Well, this week, what I'm talking about, of course, USDGC will wrap up on Saturday after 4 rounds of the major will take place. And then come next Friday, so 6 days later, most of those players will make the relatively brief hike from Rock Hill, South Carolina, over to Augusta, Georgia. They'll be playing in the Hall of Fame Classic. We talked with Jay Redding in the regular show about that national tour event. Also, of course, the final national tour event of the year, as it has been for the last few years. And I believe it's, again, sponsored by Rec Tech Grills, so I'll get that in there now. But
yes.
It's a great event on great courses at a great facility, but I think the timing continues to be the question. And whether it was Steve Dodge and or maybe what we'll see out of the Pro Tour, they too are thinking, man, we'd really love to be before, the USDGC in a perfect world. The problem is, how busy does that make August and September?
I don't know. Personally, I know
because USDGC is always the first week of October.
It is, and it shouldn't move. That's the spot. I don't necessarily think that the Disc Golf Pro Tour their finale has to move to before. I know there's been behind the scenes talk of it for all year, but or even at the end of last year, like
for a couple years now.
They want to move it before, but it's so tight. I'm okay with it being after. If it's a week after, a week break, and then so it would be 2 weeks, I guess, or a little later, depending on where it is. I have no. I guess right now I have no take on that, but you just gotta. Yeah, I mean, you just gotta have a break. Just give the players a break. Let them come down from the USDGC hype, and get their stuff together. And those who want to continue to play can play. Those who don't can move on.
Okay.
But again, we'd know more if they could get the schedule out.
Well, and I think I know that the PDGA for a number of years has always been talking about we'd love to get the schedule out earlier because that helps the events be officially solidified on their part. Mm-hmm. Because for those of you that don't know, the majors get scheduled, of course, first. The majors and the national tours, those get solidified. And from there, and in the last few years, the Pro Tour, I know, has definitely been in that consideration. And then from there, A tiers are then submitted to the PDGA. Those get solidified. And after the A tier schedule is officially deemed set, that's when the rest of the states or the rest of the country can then start filling in locally with their B tiers and C tiers.
This kind of ties into what I'm going to rant about a little bit. It also helps the media crews.
Absolutely.
Because we can make our plans to figure out what we're going to do next year. Not that the PDGA cares, because they're already making decisions behind everybody's back. That's what I've heard, at least. We've known about some information. Ace Run even brought it up, I think, last week in the chat about some of the national tours not necessarily being able to pick and choose. I've heard now from good authority that it's basically already been decided that Jomez will cover all of the national tour next year for MPO coverage. And it kind of pisses me off. Like, not that Jomez doesn't deserve it. This has nothing to do with them. This has to do with the PDGA. And we saw the Disc Golf Pro Tour last year move to a product that didn't work out at the beginning of the year.
Bringing their media
in-house, all that other good stuff. So when it finally did work out, we have Jeff Spring coming out saying, cool, we want to go do an RFP for everybody. We want to make sure it's an open process, that everybody has a chance. And the PDGA was like, cool, that's great. That's not the way we're going to do it. And by doing that, from the few people I've talked to, they've really pissed off some people, because we've seen numerous media companies do lead card coverage for MPO, lead card coverage for FPO, second card, chase card, third card, helping out the PDGA. And then again, it just literally angers me that then I had to find out what was happening with the media second or third hand. Like it was never brought up. The PDGA didn't bother to say anything. I know another media company reached out to me and was very upset about it when we talked about it. The fact that this is all being done without anyone's input. I know you particularly have covered FPO. You covered 3 or 4 events this year for the national tour. 3?
Yeah, at least
just this year, and you probably have more FPO coverage. We know you have more FPO coverage than any other crew known to man ever. Period.
Or all other crews combined.
Or all other. Were you asked at all about next year?
No.
I know the answer because we've talked about it. Yeah, no.
What is no?
What is no, Alex? Never once was it brought up. And I've reached out to the PDGA, and I want to say this. PDGA, if you're listening, and I goddamn hope you are, you have an open line with us. Anytime you want to come on and talk, we're here. We've always been there. We've always pushed your message. We've always helped out. And the PDGA, now originally I had heard that it was going to be Jomez and CCDG flip-flopping back and forth, MPO, FPO coverage. Well, I got word tonight that that's not the case, that they've basically just, quote-unquote, handed Jomez the coverage for all lead national tours. And again, no knock on Jomez. They're doing their thing.
Of course not.
They should be happy to take that. But a couple of things. One, I want to know if they're paying for it. Because I know there are companies that will pay for that. And the PDGA is going to come out and say, well, we're giving the tour what they want. We're giving the events what they want. The best coverage on with the most eyeballs on that in a consistent location. I don't care. Like, if Jomez gets the bid, that's great. But make it open for everybody. Let us all have a chance at it. Maybe SmashBoxx will pay for it. Maybe CCDG will pay for it. Maybe Ace Run will pay for it. But you don't know until you actually find out and ask. And I know there are events that are not happy with that, with the media coverage agreement.
No, of course not. And I think
because they don't have the chance to make their choices.
Well, and I think one of those big challenges will continue to be, and this is all part of, dare I say, I'll lump it all in as part of the growing pains that we've been talking about for years, is if an event has a particular sponsor or sponsors for them as a presenting sponsor, and then someone else comes in and adjusts the media policy and doesn't necessarily take into consideration a specific sponsor. I mean, there's never been a shortage of that. Whether it's been on live or post-production, sponsorship conflicts have certainly become an issue throughout the years.
And I don't know if we're going to see all that. I mean, I don't know. Because here's how it usually works. A media company gets a deal probably with a manufacturer for multiple events, whether it's the whole year, whether it's a group, whatever. They go to these events. Now, way back God, I have to go back to a minute, but I think it's like last September. Not last month, the year before that. I wrote up a proposal and had all the media companies look at it. I had Jomez, CCDG. I don't think Ace Run particularly was doing much back then, but we all looked at it and said, here is a good format for how we think media should be handled. And I gave it to the PDGA. And they said, this looks really nice. It's kind of late. Basically, it said that you need to be PDGA approved media company to cover a national tour. The tournament directors get to pick the lead card coverage. So if they want Jomez, they get Jomez. If they want Terry, it's Terry. If it's CCDG, whomever it might be. And that company has to play sponsor commercials, at least 1 or 2. All the media companies were great with it. They all agreed. Said, yeah, this looks good. It's a smart move. We're sick of fighting with each other to figure out who gets lead card and this and that, and it's confusing. Let's work on it. The PDGA said, this is great. We like the idea. We like the framework. We might have to change some things, but it's really late in the process. We've already kind of announced the national tours. And I was like, I get that. I understand. I wanted to kind of...
And the national tour was then the granting of the media, the primary media sources, were also then just handed out at that point.
Correct. And so I was like, I get it. I understand it. It can't happen this year. I'm a realistic person. I'm hoping it would happen next year, is my thought. It appears that they just threw that out and are now just flat out handing it out to a company, basically picking the winners without any sort of input from anyone else. Because like I said, I've heard TDs are upset about this. I've heard some TDs that say, no, we've had this company cover our tournament for 2 or 3 years. We really like them. The PDGA, I believe. Now, again, I'm hearing some of this. I don't necessarily maybe have all the details, which is why I'm saying, PDGA, feel free to contact us. Come on the show and answer questions. You have an open line. But I've heard tournament directors be like, well, that sucks. Now I'm forced to use a company, and they're a good company, but where is my loyalty that I've had this? This company has maybe been with us since we were a B tier. Now we're a national tour, and we don't get a chance to say.
Well, and I think maybe coming with that is the notion of it feels as if the responsibility of the media is being taken out of the hands of the event and the national, if you're on the national tour, then instead the PDGA is saying, well, guess what? You don't have to worry about hiring a crew or having this crew or that crew, or if a crew is going to be there. We're going to take over the media headache and or benefits, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to take over those benefits and headaches from you. If you're on the national tour, we'll just put that on our plate and we'll take care of that all for you. That's something you no longer have to worry about. And is that the flip side? Is that the advantage here?
I think that is. And I don't have a problem with some of that, with the PDGA taking that on, but I think the event should have a say. Like, I don't think it should be. I've complained in the past about certain events blocking out media, that I think we're too young to block out willing participants in a media. There has to be concessions and this and that. I've gone over this a dozen times, so go look back. But for the PDGA just to flat out say, no, you don't have a choice now as to who you get to cover. That to me is it's asinine. It's bad policy, and it really feels like backroom dealings. Like the fact that nothing was ever proposed. There was no. They don't even need my input. I don't care about the input, so to speak. I don't have a say with the PDGA. I never have. I can give my opinion. They don't have to come to us. I would have hoped after years and years of supporting the PDGA, working with the media, that maybe there would have been some input, or at least a courtesy to say, hey, this is what we're thinking, rather than me hearing it second hand or almost firsthand, depending on who you talk to. The whole thing stinks, and I think it's garbage. And I don't know who's covering. I know one of the complaints was, well, we want to make sure to have a media crew that's going to be available at every event. We want consistency.
Okay, well, there's a half dozen of those now.
Yes, I guarantee you talk to almost any of the companies, and you give them actually some notice, like some pre-planned notice of, hey, we would like you at these events. I guarantee you there's probably 3 to 4 different media companies that can make sure to make it to every one of the NTs.
Yeah, and I think
you could. I've heard you complain in the past about the PDGA calling you 2 weeks before an event and saying, hey, we need FPO coverage. Can you get it? Like 2 weeks, and they don't have it.
It's only been on the schedule for a year.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the past, and I understand they're trying to get their shit together, but in the past, they haven't had this. And I applaud them for thinking ahead. I just think that they did it. And the way we're finding out is really kind of garbage. And I know that there's like I said, with the MPO coverage, there are companies that will pay for that.
Sure.
So if anyone's being paid for that coverage, it's a joke. No one should be paid for MPO lead card. There are so many companies that will do it for free. Or pay for it, for that matter. Now, you talk about FPO coverage or MPO2 coverage. That's a different story. There's not the demand for those cards. And I understand if the PDGA has to pay for those. But there are, I know you would do that. So here is a, God, I almost don't want to say it. Here's an idea for all the media companies listening. Charge what you're worth. If they come to you and ask you to do FPO, make sure to charge them. No discounts. Don't bother. Because apparently they don't really have your best interests in mind. They have their own, which is fine, and that's what they need to. But I have a number in my head that I talked with CCDG about, and I said, that's the number I think you should charge. And I'm so beyond frustrated. I don't know if I've ever been this frustrated with a PDGA in my life. I've always supported them. I believe in so much that they do. I think they're very good for our sport. They do a lot with grassroots organizations that, the different Edge, DG Play, all that stuff. They're such a good organization. And I just think that this particular decision is wrong on so many levels. And I don't know if I've ever been this frustrated with them.
Well, it's all that post-production footage you create.
And that's just it. It literally affects me zero. I don't do any post-production. I know you know
I know
that.
That's my
I do live, and there aren't other companies beating down the door to do live right now. We have Fulcrum, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. But again, my understanding is their budget is a little bit bigger than what the PDGA is used to paying us. Maybe I'm wrong, and I have inside information, but my understanding is they're charging a lot more. And so that's great. But ultimately, the post-production doesn't affect me. It affects you. It affects CCDG. It affects Aceron, who's on the board. It affects the tournament directors. It affects the PDGA, clearly. But I'm so frustrated. And I saw Marty Gregoire on the board earlier, and I don't know what input he has in this. Because I know he's been with the media for a long time. He's welcomed on the show at some time. Probably not tonight, just because I'm more worked up tonight, and I would probably just get in more trouble than I already am for more or less spilling the beans as to what's going on. So if I have my information wrong, please come and correct me. I beg you to correct me.
Well, I think one of the biggest, for me personally, again, just on my end, I think about what we see on an MPO side, how valuable the MPO cards can be. And then I think about on the FPO side, where we've seen a very specific push for the equality of coverage and for and having as many cards, or we don't want it lopsided. We don't want to have 5 cards covered on MPO versus 1 or 0 cards covered on FPO. And I know a lot of those measures and things have been taken, but I also know that we don't have people beating down the door to cover FPO cards, and which I get it. I think I understand it more than anyone. What's interesting for me is just to see, like you said, without an RFP, without any kind of official feedback or input or other notion made, just things being kind of just doled out. And
don't get me wrong, like, I understand why they gave it to Jomez. Like, if you're going to dole it out to somebody, they make the most sense. They've got 150,000+ viewers.
Yeah,
they've got the best graphics that we are currently out there. They're the most professional out there. They're arguably they're good guys too.
Yeah, and there's no shade being thrown
at Jomez.
At Jomez
zero
as,
at all.
As a corporation. You're more mad about the process rather than their product,
upset.
of course.
And if it came down to live, I would hope they would put out an RFP for live as well. Say, hey,
of
guys,
course,
we're gonna do Worlds in Utah next year. Let's put out an RFP and see who responds.
Which we've put together in the past.
We've put together quotes and stuff like that. We can do RFPs. I mean, that's great. Tell us what you want. We'll get it. Odds are we're getting the RFP, because I don't know if anyone's matching our price and our experience. But that maybe not. Maybe
which would be totally fine.
Maybe
as well.
somebody comes in. Maybe Fulcrum comes in with a phenomenal show this weekend. They decide they want to get into disc golf. They promote a bid, and they're cheaper than us and they're better than us. Who knows? That more power to me. Congratulations. go with the better team. I don't want to be handed something either. It's nice. I'm not turning it down, but I believe in an open process, and I would love to see the PDGA get there. And so this is kind of my throw a grenade into the hole and see what happens.
Well, it's definitely something that understandably has frustrated a number of our post-production companies, and understandably so. And I have yet to fully put all my thoughts together. I know that I do not have the subscriber base. I know that I don't necessarily have the following. But on the flip side of that same coin, I also know that I have gladly, I don't want to say willingly, gladly stepped up and filled a gap or a hole that has otherwise gone neglected, maybe, in helping push and create our FPO content. And it saddens me from the perspective that I know these players, I know these courses. Clearly, Disc Golf Media is my number one job of all the hats and the jobs that I have. Disc Golf Media is my number one focus in life. And so to not have a consideration from a post-production side to even be asked, hey, would you commit, or would you be interested in covering every event on the national tour, FPO1? Like, to not even be asked that at any point is definitely
insulting.
I guess I would say insulting. It's frustrating. It's also insulting because I feel like it wasn't intentional, but I feel like my channel, my coverage has almost become synonymous with FPO coverage because, quite frankly, no one else wants to do it.
No, because guess what?
Because the money's not there, the sponsorship's not there, the viewership's not there. Nobody else really wants to do it.
It takes longer to edit. It takes longer to edit because they tend to throw more throws. So when we'll say an average MPO card, let's say each player shoots a 50, and you're editing 200 shots. Yes, right?
Yeah.
An FPO card might be shooting 60, 65 on average, depending on the course, or even if they're only doing 55 or 60. That's still
like an extra person.
That's still an extra. It's like editing one extra person into your card, and it's tougher. It takes longer. It's gets less views, and it's less valuable. And again, you have been one of the ones that have stepped up. Which, and I understand people are going to look at this and be like, "Well, yeah, Johnny, you're clearly taking one for your buddy," and that's not it. Like,
it's not even it for me.
It's part of it.
It's not, because again, it's more about being a little frustrated with the process more than the actual outcome. Because I've said it a million times. If somebody doesn't put value in and or want my services, I'm not offended by that. If you feel like you're going to get a better value or a better product or better viewership or exposure out of hiring one of my competitors, I'm super good with that. Like, there's business decisions that need to be made every single day, so I'm good with that. I just want the foresight and the knowledge of that so that I'm not being called 2 weeks before an event and saying, hey, can you come cover this? That's what I'm trying to avoid from a professional business side.
Because right now,
I'm trying to avoid those situations.
You are being called to, boo-hoo Terry, all different parts of the world, quite literally. And these are plans that need to be made months ahead of time.
Correct. And we know when, any day now the schedule is going to get released. And if there was a commitment from a scheduling perspective that said, hey, could you commit to being at these 6 or 8 or 10 events? I mean, not that I'm pitting any one against another, but that's been a huge benefit that we've had with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, this year excluded, of course. But in the previous years, we've known with Steve Dodge that he said, okay, we have 10 events next year. You guys are there for all 10. Just simply having that knowledge so that we can plan our lives and our businesses around it. That's all we're asking for. And it's interesting that this year, or coming in, I should say 2020, like that offer wasn't even, opportunity wasn't even put in front of us.
You clearly don't have to worry about that next year, then.
I don't.
No one reached out to you, so...
No. So that's...
maybe they're going to come at you for MPO1, or MPO2, I mean, second card coverage.
I would just love...
Which, again, is a lot like FPO, which gets a fraction of the views usually.
And I'm not... I'm not. We cannot stress this enough. This isn't a. I think so and so deserves to be there because Jomez isn't qualified or isn't a good product. That's couldn't be further from the truth. Again, I think it's more about the process of it all. So we'll see how things shake out. Neither of us have seen a schedule for next year.
No.
And I think that's probably going to drop any day now. I know they have plenty of things to consider in terms of events, majors, national tours, getting all those ducks in a row. I would have loved to see it out a month, 2, 3 months ago. I know they're always trying to push it up. Hopefully it'll be any day now, and then we just kind of go from there and see how the rest of the year unfolds.
One more. I got to throw one more thing out there. When we found out about this like 2 weeks ago, we didn't have all the details, so I didn't want to come out and bash anybody. We did reach out to some tournament directors and said, hey, do you have a copy of the media plan or the media agreement? And we were literally told we are not allowed to give out the media agreement. Like it was not allowed. Like the PDGA said, do not give this out to other people, only for your eyes only. Like, again, it's that kind of secrecy that just really bothers me in our organization. Like, it's stuff you can't do. I couldn't even look at what the agreement said because thankfully the TDs did what they were told and didn't give it to us. So if anyone has that and they want to throw it my way, send me an email. I'll keep you anonymous. And if you have the other thing I would like is a link to the USDGC tomorrow. If you get that secret link, I know it's out there. They're doing a practice round tomorrow. If anyone's got that,
I think you need to go to anonymous.com or whatever those guys with the masks are. They'll have it.
Yeah, so on a lighter note, if anyone's got that link, share it with me. I'd love to watch. I'll keep it secret, I promise. I promise. I'll at least wait 2 weeks before I rat you out like this.
And, of course, you're talking about USDGC to bring that full circle. Again, if you somehow missed it, they're live Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tomorrow they are not live. They will likely be doing some kind of testing and getting all their ducks in a row, probably doing almost a dry run. I feel like that's what they were doing last year, if I recall, right? Their first 2 days were kind of behind the scenes or
I don't know
on
if they
their
did
own.
any sort of live the very first day last year.
Okay.
I think they might have done a dry run the second day, and then it was only live the last 2 days. And today they've bumped it up an extra day where they're only going to do like a dry run the first day, and then the other 3 days will be live. And again, I can't emphasize how excited I am to watch. I truly, like, it's funny and nice being able to be on this side of the screen where I can just click a link and sit back and enjoy and listen to the smooth sounds of Hannah Macbeth and Jamie Thomas.
And Ken Climo.
He's not so smooth.
No?
I love me some Kenny. And
Smooth is not a word you would associate with his voice.
Not with his voice. He has so much knowledge, and he's a great commentator, but I would not put his voice in the smooth. It's not buttery. We'll put it that way.
Well, I am excited to also hear that. I'm going to one of the things that I think we should give away to a live viewer tonight, and I have to double check that I can, but it's probably already too late. I am a USDGC supporter, partner, that's the term. I'm a USDGC partner. And that means I gave the USDGC a bunch of money earlier in the year. Thank you, Ace Run, for the amazing super chat. Thank you very much. So I'm a USDGC partner, which means I gave them money, and I'm a big supporter of the event. I've been it for many, many years. At one point today, they sent an email and said, hey, to our USDGC partners, we're giving you one free login code to watch the USDGC live. We're giving it to you for free. And I had already thought, well, I want to support the broadcast. I want to pay full price. I don't want this discounted PDGA $7.99 action. I want to pay full price to fully support the USDGC. So,
And
assuming
Edge.
there's no complications with it, I would like to give away my free USDGC viewership. So somehow, some way here tonight, and I think it's going to have to be live. It's not going to be a Patreon type person, like we do for our other giveaways. It's going to have to be somebody live and that's ready to get active on the chat board, because that's the only way I'm going to really see or know your name. we're going to have to do it that way. And I would like to give away this code. I do believe it said it can't be shared, but
it is a one-time code. So,
yes.
So even if you were to share it out there, no one can do anything with it if you've already redeemed it.
And correct. And I haven't clicked on it or used it, which is why I want to give it away.
Yeah.
And I think that should be. And if somehow that doesn't work, I'll buy you one.
Well, SmashBox will buy you.
We'll buy you
ticket.
the code. But I believe if I don't use it, and I want to give it to someone else, I'm hoping that shouldn't be a problem. I'll have to get loud with Adrian over at. I'm just kidding. I won't. But hopefully that should be not a problem that I give away my one-time code, because I am not going to redeem it, and I'd rather have one of our Smashies who hasn't already bought the live coverage. I'd like to give it away to one of them. So we'll have to think about that before we close out here.
Yeah, we
on the show tonight.
Think of a fun way to give that away.
There's some people saying they'll take it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So,
Keith Allen says he's already signed up. Well, Keith,
then
good for you.
Then don't try to win it.
Exactly. So we'll find a way. And like I said, I want to give it away. Johnny's already paid full price, $9.99.
Literally, the minute it was announced, I clicked on it and said, "I'm in." There's no way I'm not doing it. So I might as well do it now. And then I read, there's going to be a discount. And I was like, whatever, $2.
Yeah,
like,
which is nice of them to offer, of course.
100%. I love that they're offering the discount to
They should have offered
members.
A SmashBoxxTV discount. I'm just saying, that would have been good cross-promotion for everybody.
It would have been cool. And I know I think it's USDGC 20 is a code, 20% code off if you want to use that, because the PDGA 19 one expired. And I thought there was a Disc Golf Center code out there. If you look hard enough. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, if you haven't paid and you're going to, go look for one of those discount codes. Don't pay full price for it. You don't have to.
Or wait till at least after the show here tonight. Make sure you didn't win it from me.
That's true. Just don't
simmer down. Wait a little bit, and then I'll give it away. All right, so here is a slight tangent, but I want to ask you, over the last let's say the last 6 years, is there any single thing outside of breathing?
I think you've asked this question
and
before.
Waking up. Is there any single thing you've done that you could confidently say you've done every day for the last 6 years? In the board. I'd love to hear you guys reply.
I mean, eat.
Okay.
For me.
Maybe.
I mean, not everybody does. Some people fast.
No, but I'm saying, do you think you have? You don't think you've skipped one day of eating from a sickness or an illness where you didn't eat?
Nope.
Okay.
I guarantee you, I don't think I've been really that sick.
Okay.
And even if I am, it's like, I'll eat crackers or something nice and settling and dry. But I'm fairly certain I've not skipped a day of eating.
Okay, so there's some of the obvious. The bathroom breaks, bathroom uses. We'll say whatever form. We'll say bathroom uses, waking up, breathing, eating.
If you're in a coma, I mean, wake up.
Okay. Some people have said I'm gonna, as gross as it may sound, I know there's been at least once where I was sick. And I may not have, in a true sickness, brush my teeth in a specific day. Everyone's done it. Don't judge me. At one time or another. So I can't brush my teeth personally. I can't. If you can, more power to you.
I don't think I definitely can't say that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm sure there's been a day I've gone without it.
Yep. Okay. So is there anyone, I'd like to hear if anyone has anything outside of the ordinary of what I've just mentioned. Dare I say the obvious? You're eating, your bathroom, your breathing. Anything else that you could think of? That you could say, I have absolutely done every day for the last 6 years. It's a tough question, legitimately.
It is. I
like, if you could think of, like, it's nothing kid related. You have 2 kids, but
wore clothes.
Okay.
I don't think there's ever been an
You've
entire
been naked
day
for
where
a full...
I've been naked for an entire day.
Okay.
I can't say that I've changed clothes.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm sure there's been a day I've woke up, I was wearing pajamas, probably just lounging around the house all day, ended up crashing on the couch and going to bed or something. I'm sure there's been a day like that in the last 6 years, but other than that.
All right. So here's the payoff to this question.
Yeah. Please tell me a payoff.
Now, here in Milwaukee, there is a gentleman who
Oh yeah.
reached 6 yesterday. His quote unquote anniversary, birth date, whatever you want to call it. He has reached 6 full years of playing disc golf every single day in the last 6 years. He has played at least 9 holes or more every day for the last 6 years. And now some of you may remember or recognize or think about it as I went out in the polar vortex or whatever we had in the dead of winter back in probably December, January this year, whatever it was. I guess, wow, that was 10 months ago now. Whenever we had that one of the nasty storms roll through Wisconsin, I met him out at a course, a local course, when he was going out to get in his round. He had X amount of days, obviously, at that point. But here we are, and he said yesterday was, in fact, his 6th year anniversary. And yes, that includes Christmas, literally every day. I'm not going to name off all the other days he might have skipped. Literally every day for the last 6 years. So just thought it was pretty cool. I genuinely challenged myself to thinking if there's anything I've done outside of bodily functions that I've done with that much consistency, and there's nothing.
No.
There's nothing that you've done intentionally.
My wife would say talk to you, but that's
not even true.
I know that's not true, but my wife might say that.
Jason might be close with a walk your dog. I could see that one if you've had a dog and if you've never gone on vacation, you never went away, you never were away from your dog. Maybe you're single, maybe you're not, but that would probably be one of the closest that I could think of. So anyway, I guess congratulations. Michael Wright is his name. He's here in Milwaukee. If you search on one of my previous video blogs, I had done an interview with him, like I said, in a polar vortex. I did not catch up with him yesterday. I just saw him make the post to Facebook that it was his 6th year, and that was as of yesterday. So pretty incredible is what I can say to that. I've got another weird one for you.
Okay.
Found in the news, not disc golf related this time.
I'm okay with that.
I read a story about a gentleman here in Wisconsin. Some of you familiar with the city. There's a disc golf course there, but more so, for a while, they were the home of Rippin' Good Cookies. So I'm talking about Ripon, Wisconsin, where there's also a small college of sorts. A gentleman that died put into his will $500,000, I believe it was, $500,000, and he put it into his will. And the $500,000 was to be divvied up among everyone that attended his funeral. And this was not known ahead of time.
Of course. Because otherwise you'd have everybody coming.
Yeah. And if That's husband
cool.
and wife and you had your 4 kids there.
You got 6?
You got 6, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Why not?
No, I understand, right? But yeah.
Totally
cool.
random story.
I'm not going to do that, but that's an awesome idea.
I thought it was pretty cool. He had done well for himself, so on and so forth. He was just an all-around, I guess, great guy, gracious philanthropist, and just an all-around nice guy that everybody liked and respected. Yeah. And I just thought I'd save it for the after show as kind of one of those really unique stories. His lawyer or someone who was handling everything after the fact, he more or less I guess they had to do some verifying. They went by the guest book along with other people who were there to get it all verified, how many were there, so on and so forth. And yeah, that's all.
That's very cool.
Do you want to give out that kind of money?
If I have it, sure. I mean, if I have enough where 500,000 isn't going to make a big difference,
sure.
Then I think that would be fun to do. I don't believe that I will have that type of money anytime soon.
Oh, so, come on, you're a baller. You work in disc golf media.
Odds are I will be handing that down to my kids. But yeah, I mean that would be a fun game to play with.
Is it no longer original? I mean, still, no one would ever expect it.
No one would ever expect
it. That's the fun part. Like that could be done in every state once a year, and it still wouldn't, like, no one would be like, well, I don't know, I think I might go to Joe's wedding or Joe's funeral. Sorry,
I'm gonna go to every funeral just in case now.
Yeah, just in case. So.
Nothing creepy about that.
Ace Run Productions does have a valid point. He says, I could do that with this. I could. I could give a starter pack to every single person that comes to my funeral.
Oh, yeah. Easily, because no one's coming. People don't like you. Hey!
Yeah, I could definitely give a starter pack away. That'd be a good thing to do.
On the board, Cool One asks a question for us if we're considering any other sports coverage in the next year.
Bring them.
We haven't talked to anybody about other sports coverage. After what I said, we might have a lot of spare time next year. But ultimately, no, we haven't really gotten into it. Every once in a while, like once every year or two, I talk with the Guts guys, and Guts is a bigger sport in like Wisconsin, Michigan,
a little bit of the Midwest.
Midwest, it's a much more thing, and they talk to. They've always asked me, and this year we literally went back and forth for a couple days, and then it just never went anywhere, and I stopped getting a response back, and it just ultimately nothing was settled upon. I'd love to kind of get into that. I think that would be pretty cool. There's a few things I think we could do, but ultimately for other sports, not that I know of.
I say we start perusing the message boards for RFPs and get ourselves throw our names in.
Yeah. We could do other streaming. Right now, honestly, very popular streaming funerals.
Yeah,
that's a popular thing. We could get into that streaming. We could.
Imagine how easy streaming. I'm just saying.
Is that like three camera coverage? Do you have if it's
one at the door, one near the guest book,
one near the? I don't think you need the door, but one near the guest book.
Wherever the podium is, if there's going to be speeches, clearly.
Now, do you treat it like bags and have one over the casket? Like, does it matter if it's open versus closed?
I mean, that would have to be in the RFP. We'd have to figure it out.
I mean, there are people who want to show their respects online, clearly.
Yeah, and they don't want to travel across the country to be.
And some people just want to see and do their last goodbyes. I don't know I've never seen one, so I don't know what the protocol is.
Then you'd have to have a chat board so people could be like, sending regards from.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I'd do a chat board. I could get a little gruesome, ghoulish. Ghoulish is the word I'm looking for there. Not that. I mean. I don't. It's not ghoulish to do live streaming of a funeral. I don't want to say that. It would be ghoulish to maybe do the chat board, because the last thing I want is like some rando kid on Twitch coming in and just spamming.
Get the band hammer out.
Come check out my funeral feed.
Yeah, I suppose.
Two other little social media notes that I saw kind of created a little bit of stir this over the past 2 days or day or two. We saw a picture of Paul Macbeth being promoted,
kicking a kitten.
No, and he wasn't throwing a disc at Dez's face either.
Oh, okay. Just to put that one to rest.
Yeah, that was not there. Being to promote the USDGC, and I couldn't remember if it was the live coverage in general or if it was just USDGC. And it was an older photo with him in some Innova gear. And I think
who it was his sponsor not only last year but for the previous 12 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's what I say. I saw some people that I think took it a little bit overboard, but I think that a more savvy social media attempt at that would have been one of two things. Get a more current photo of him. It was a picture of him in an Innova hat holding an Innova towel. It looked like he was lining up a forehand, basically.
And they superimposed an Innova tattoo on his forearm.
On his face.
Okay.
No, get him a more current photo of him. Or if you're going to use a photo from last year, which that photo could have been taken at USDGC, the problem is you can't tell because it's so zoomed in. There's no context to the photo itself. If you're going to use a photo like that, you might want to make it
more iconic or recognizable.
Make it more recognizable, like
or specific to
him
the
on
USDGC.
17. Put it at him at USDGC or something, so that there's not the because I saw some people saying things like, well, yeah, Innova is trying to use Paul to promote their event and putting their brand all over it. Which, I mean, it's
Paul did win last year.
Paul did win last year in Innova products. It's just that I think it could have been handled
at an Innova major.
Yes, I think it could have been handled a little bit differently by whomever. I don't know who was in charge. I don't know if that was a Fulcrum or an Innova thing. Honestly, I have no clue. But I think whoever did it, it could have been done in a slightly less, I don't want to say controversial way, but
yeah,
it could have been handled a little bit better.
And I'm gonna take a slightly opposite approach and say, it doesn't bother me that much. We've had so many of our players switch sponsors throughout the years, and
I know
he won the event there last year. I mean, right now I'm on Innova's Facebook page and a post on September 25th shows Ricky Wysocki getting an ace, and clearly he's wearing his Latitude or his Latitude and Wysocki sake bomb gear.
But as I said, that's clearly from USDGC. Like, it's iconic. Hole 17, and those are iconic things. You put that picture, you expand that picture, and show him on the green of 17, or lining up 18's approach with the pond in the back, or something to designate that this was taken at this event. Like, that's where I think the misstep was. And it's not a controversy. It's barely worth mentioning, but I feel like part of our shtick in this thing is to bring up stuff we see on social media, some of the things that are bubbling up, and that is kind of one of them that I saw get some traction. And I just want to say, and I understand, just give it some context, man. It just looks a little silly otherwise.
Yeah, but they're also using a picture of James Conrad with a beard, and he didn't have one earlier this year, so come on, guys.
I know.
No. See,
I know.
I do understand what you're saying, and I understand to some degree what others are saying. You know, we have made the comment. I mean, there's no one more photographed in our sport probably this year than Paul has been, so it might have made sense to try and get a more current one. I can see both sides to it. That's not what do they say, a hill I'm going to go die on, so to speak. But I guess I could see it both ways.
Exactly.
I mean, to be fair,
it's not a huge misstep. It's just like one of those little things that I think
to be fair, as far as we all know, the Innova Jonathan Poole USDGC relationship with Paul is ended on perfectly amicable. I don't know if that is technically the term, but as far as we all know, ended on perfectly fine terms. You'd never hear Jonathan Poole or the event speak ill of a player that's, just because they're not on the team anymore, or because they're a previous champion and won it with a certain company.
No, and it was a class act.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's...
And again, yeah, I mean, I don't need to harp on it, but yes, I think...
harp on it more than you have.
Correct. I didn't harp on it. I brought it up.
Oh, there you are harping, and Ricky Wysocki, Latitude, he's with Innova now, and he's got Lyme disease. Shut up!
Speaking of Ricky, is my next...
Oh, jeez.
My next thing. Ricky did an interview on a local radio station in Charlotte. I think this was before he pulled out. There's a podcast. I'm going to have to bring up the address of the radio station. So hold on one second.
Okay, while you do that, I guess
go ahead.
One Sam Martin says, real question, do players sign their likeness away? In soccer, when players change teams, they sometimes have to change their signature because the old team owns the rights.
I don't believe that's the case in our sport.
I'm guessing, to a certain degree, you're signing away certain rights when you're playing in any PDGA event. That is inherently underwritten. And then I'm guessing when you sign up for really big events such as the USDGC, somewhere in the fine print, in their clause of the fine print of registering or a waiver and all that other stuff, you're probably signing away, again, some form of line that says your images and or likeness may be used for promotional purposes for the event. I'm guessing that's somewhere in the fine print, which I'm sure is very customary.
Yeah, and I don't blame, I wouldn't, when you go into a Dick's Sporting Goods, you still see big things of Macbeth hanging around.
With Innova.
With Innova. And I've got no problem with that. I don't expect Innova to clean all of that up and be like, we have to tear all this down. No, that makes no sense to me. It's labor intensive. I get all of that. Only the other way. So, in regards to this interview Ricky did with WFNZ, sports radio, 6:10 a.m. On a show called Wilson and Parcell. There's a podcast of it if you want to go to their website. The podcast label is CMC a top 5 offensive something or other? It cuts off on the screenshot I have. But
Okay.
you can look at that. It's at 15 minutes and 40 seconds is the interview with Ricky. These guys are kind of your typical sports radio guys. And Ricky's doing this promotion like, hey, I hear you're in town for this USDGC. I hear that you have a rival in Paul Macbeth. Is that true? And Ricky's like, yeah, he kind of goes off and he's reluctant to say yes, but he's like, yes, Paul and I have gone back and forth the past, 5, 6, 7, 8 years at World Championships and USDGC and whatever. And these guys just won't let it drop.
Wow.
And so they keep going yeah, how about this Paul Macbeth guy? Like, what's his deal? And Ricky's like, well, he won Worlds this year. And he's like being very cordial about it. And finally, these guys like dig in and be like, what exactly is the beef between you two guys?
Wow. Okay.
And Ricky finally kind of breaks down a little bit and goes, well, when you play against someone so much, you have these issues. And he's done some things in the past, like, he tried to call me out on a disc that wasn't marked at a World Championships when he was up by a few strokes and I was making run or something. And he mismarked my scorecard one time. And finally, Ricky actually kind of laid it out just a little bit, they kind of scraped the surface of him just a hair. And then the shock jock radio guy, sports radio guy is like, yeah, screw that Paul Macbeth guy. We're all Team Ricky, basically. That's
all it took.
It's all it took. Like, it just took Ricky just kind of mentioning the little bitty things that have happened in the past. And these guys were all over it. I listened to the podcast today. It was really funny, and I'll forward it on to you so you can listen to it later, Terry.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try to put something out on SmashBoxx's page of where you can find the interview of Ricky promoting USDGC, and then these guys
and then
just
talking trash.
and then these guys just finally digging in this radio, these typical sports radio guys, and I loved it because finally you got a little bit of Ricky, not just the platitudes like, yeah, Paul and I, we go back.
Sure.
You kind of got just a little bit of Ricky under the scenes to get these guys off his back, and it was great. It was awesome. It kind of reminded me of the interview Paul did a couple of years ago where he called out Ricky and Will.
Sure.
In the
LA Times.
Yeah, the LA Times. And then the video he did of it, there was an interview, I think, with the Pro Tour that he had done as well. So if you get the chance, go out. Like I said, WFNZ, September 25th was the date. And
if you have the link, you could throw
the show. I'll try to find it.
Link it right onto. Can you link it right into our notes
into the show notes? Yeah. Wilson and Parcell is CMC a top 5 offensive.
Right.
So go try to find that. It's worth it just to listen to it.
Johnny V, this is breaking news. Speaking of going out and trying to find it, we have none other than an exclusive that's about to come in hot right now. Throwing 690 feet,
Kaboom!
almost all the way from Rock Hill to Wisconsin, Simon Lizotte is saying he has news for us, and he'd like to come on to SmashBoxx TV and give us an exclusive update.
Well,
do we have time for him?
Let's ask the Smashies. Do we have time for a Simon Lizotte check-in?
Or should we just close the after show?
Should we just shut down the show? Forget Simon. I'm leaving it up to you. I'm just kidding. Simon, you have our
Does he?
You might have our Skype address.
I will send it to you. If you do not, Simon,
we'll get you on.
Let me send him a message. Him and I have been chatting for the last few minutes. He says he has something that is somewhat important that he would like to share with the world. So
Simon's starting his own tour. We got the announcement from UC a couple years ago, the Discmania, the World Tour.
Yep.
It's the Simon Lizotte World Tour.
That would be epic, I think. Do you think he'd put out an RFP for anyone else to cover it?
I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't.
Well, we'll see if we can
give us. I think he'd at least give us the.
We're gonna see if we can get him dialed up, and I believe he'll be ready to go in just a moment. Getting his full money's worth and ours is Disc Baron. Thank you for hosting our digital green room. And in just a moment, it sounds like I can hear Simon. He's just getting things ready, probably with his video, getting in position.
Yep.
Of course, the eve of the USDGC, and I'm going to take a guess that, like our guest last week, he has written a book. What do you think the possibility is that? You think he's written a book?
I don't think he's written a book.
Okay.
All right, let's bring Simon on. Once again, welcome back to the show. It's been a little while. The last time I saw Simon, not the last time I saw him, I guess the last time I talked to him, it was almost in person. We were having a nice little dinner, and he was breaking his diet. So I hope that I hope he got back on the wagon.
Come back to Wisconsin, Simon.
Come back to Wisconsin, Simon, and come break your diet. Simon Lizotte, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, buddy. How you doing?
Guys, I'm so glad to be on here right now. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
We always, the door is always open for you.
Let me ask this, though. Please tell me, if you're giving us some exclusive news or updates or information, I'm hoping it is something positive?
I mean, this is right now so spontaneous. I didn't even know this was possible. I thought it was just kidding around, but...
No, we don't.
Simon, do I F around?
We don't joke around on SmashBoxx.
Yeah, we are all business all the time, Simon.
Well, I'm just sitting here in Rockville, South Carolina. I'm obviously mentally preparing for the first run of USDGC right now. And you've talked about the Lyme disease that Ricky was diagnosed with and officially announced. I think, was it today he announced it?
Yes.
He announced the withdrawal of the events, but I think it was last week he talked about the possibility of the disease.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm so deep into this, but from what I've heard, he's not taking the antibiotics.
Someone tell him to.
I just want to give it... Everyone has to know that is crazy.
Wow.
And
okay.
I want to tell everyone that can right now to get out their phones, message Ricky Wysocki, and tell him to stop being crazy and risking literally his career, which he's worked so hard for. And
yeah.
Take the medicine he needs, because that's some serious stuff.
Yeah, we had Ricky on.
I feel so bad for hearing what he's going through and hearing the way he's trying to treat this. And I mean, I'm obviously no expert, but from all the information I've ever got in my life and from everyone I've heard around me, please, Ricky, don't risk your freaking career by being crazy and thinking you're smarter than doctors.
And we've had Ricky on a couple weeks ago. We actually talked about health insurance with him, in that he was pushing for more golfers to get this, and he has it. He has some health insurance. He has people he can reach out to in the disc golf community. There's Zach Melton. There's Johnny McRae. I thought there was one more person we had, Kale LaVisca. And there are people that can give you that can definitely direct you. And you maybe you know more about the whole situation than I do. I got no confirmation whether he was or wasn't. You are saying that he apparently isn't. I'm under the impression that if that's the case, that is the wrong decision. Talk to the guys that have had this happen to them. That's my thought.
What conversations have you had, either with him or about this?
I mean, I don't want to make all the conversations I've had public.
Okay.
Of course.
But it's just, I'm just so worried for him. And
yeah,
I mean, it's just, it is no joke. It is some serious stuff that's going on. And
I mean,
I don't know. I can't really judge the beliefs that are going on in him and his surroundings and his family. But at this point, you gotta freaking trust some science. Like, come on. I don't even know what to say. For me, it's mind blowing that I'm speechless. I'm speechless, and I feel scared and worried, and I just wanted to I don't even know how to help. I really don't know how to help.
We're diving in pretty deep here. Sometimes you can't. I mean, you can do everything you can. You can, but you can't force.
Yeah.
You know, if it comes down to truly a belief system for him, that's something he has to deal with and do. And
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think, Simon, you're probably on the same page as I am. Yeah, I tend to be more of a man of science. I've seen what the antibiotics can do. Like I said, we have a good case study with some of our other players. If you can't look at that, then I don't know what will convince you. You know, I don't. If it's a belief system, that's really hard for people to get over. It really is. I mean,
so when you're talking, Simon, about, you know, his career and everything, you're obviously genuinely concerned about his actual health and safety and well-being, but are you also then doubling up with the idea that if he takes these antibiotics, he gets healed that much quicker, and you could even see him finish out this year? Or are you like, what are you trying to say when you're talking about his career?
I mean, I've probably seen more information and videos and photos of him, of the whole situation, than most people have. So I kind of know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even concerned about this year, obviously. Like, that's out of the question. But again, I'm no specialist on Lyme disease.
No.
But it is some serious stuff. And it is so obvious that, I mean, of course, antibiotics are overprescribed and they have some negative, God, my English is struggling.
Some drawbacks
right now,
or cons,
side effects.
Yep.
Side effects on the body, but it's freaking saves lives or just helps in being like permanently impaired from freaking what you're doing, especially if you're a professional athlete like Ricky is. And especially Lyme disease, it's like a known fact that antibiotics are, especially for that disease, like extremely necessary and helpful. And just not doing that, it drives me crazy. Like I don't.
Have you reached out to Ricky? Have you had like a little bit of a heart to heart, or maybe a little bit stronger push with him personally, and been like, hey, Ricky, take some drugs or take some antibiotics? Have you reached out at all?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Reached out.
Okay.
And I hope everyone reaches out that can reach out. But he told me that he feels like he's in good hands and he's working with health professionals.
I mean, that company's located here in Milwaukee. I will go there and yell at them. It's probably no more than 5 miles from our house because everything in Milwaukee is 5 miles away.
So, what do you feel like you've learned from the other guys that we just mentioned, and anyone else? There's obviously clearly a number of other disc golfers that, you know, maybe aren't household names, but what do you feel like you've learned in the last few years about Lyme and how you've seen the Kales and the Johnny McRae's? What do you feel like you've learned about it?
I mean, the lesson is that it can literally happen to anyone at any time. I mean, I've had several tick bites in the last couple of years, and I've been lucky to not get it. And it's something to not joke about or not take seriously. It is a disease that freaking throws you into bed for weeks and weeks and months. And if you don't treat it at the right time, if you don't treat it with the right medicine, then it'll stay. It's a lifelong and can even be like life-threatening. So
neurological issues, health issues.
It really should be a no-brainer. Like when he told me he's in good hands and he's doing everything, like he's doing the best he knows how, all I could send him was like an emoji with like a face palm. Like, what are you talking about?
Second opinions.
On.
That's what you have to. I mean, you have to tell somebody second opinions. We just again, I know I talked about it last week. My wife was just literally went in for her mammogram and they found a spot, and so we were worried that there was some breast cancer. Went in, had a biopsy. Worst 2 weeks of my life, but ultimately they're like, cool. The doctors will take care of it. And if it would have been something major, we would have gone for a second opinion. That's just kind of to me, that's what personally makes sense to me. And thankfully, we're all in the clear. Everything was cleared up. No problems in the family. But that is just something you need. You need to take care of. And I've had this discussion with family members that are, and I don't want to. I want to separate this, that are anti vaccination. And I don't know where Ricky falls in this, and it's a whole separate thing. But yes, there are issues you can have with any sort of medicine you take, whether it's antibiotics, whether it's cough medicine. There's always something that can happen, but you have to look at the larger percentage, not the small percentage. And again, my philosophy on life it doesn't necessarily apply to everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
just there are side effects with almost everything. Side effects of eating is me getting fat. That sucks. I don't like that.
So I guess we're going to have to wait and see what Ricky's approach is, going to continue to be, whether an outpouring of concerned disc golfers will or will not impact him. That's to be determined. But it's for you to have such a concern. Do you know anyone else that has it outside of the disc golf community?
That's probably been the number one topic of the last week of people that I've met is Ricky's disease and how he's treating it and how concerned we are. Because, I mean, of course he's a competitor and we're competitors, but at the end of the day, he's a freaking friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we're almost, even though we're not literally teammates, it feels like we're teammates because we're like playing the same sport. We have the same goals. And we all want the best for him. Like, especially at this tournament here, which is local to him, the vibes are obviously completely in his favor. And people are talking about it here all week. And
that's tough.
From everything that I've heard, from everyone that I've heard, at the end of the day, we wish the best for him, no matter what he does or how he does it. We hope everything goes well, but we're just trying to lead the path in the right direction. I don't even know if it's possible, but
well, I don't think this is callous, but do you think that there is something that Innova can do? He has a contract with Innova. Something that they can do to sway him? I don't know. Again, I don't know his thoughts, and I don't know what Innova's take on it, if they even have an official take. And you may not know that. And even if you do, you don't have to say anything. But you would think that him being a contract, not employee, a contract player, that there's something that they can hold over his head, something to maybe see. I don't want to say, it's so hard. I don't want to say see the light, but that maybe get him the help that other people thinks he needs that maybe he isn't seeing. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know where to go with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anyone's influence on his decisions. I just hope that a mass of people messaging him about how crazy and potentially wrong his decisions right now could be might second guess his choices and change his opinion on how to treat Lyme disease.
Yeah, we'll see how people respond, and I don't know if it was just not as well known earlier today among the non-insider group. I mean, as you're saying, if you're at the event or maybe people surrounding the event, that seems to be a hot topic or a topic of conversation, but the rest of the world may not realize exactly where Ricky stands and his approach to this, and so maybe bringing a little bit more light to it will provide some influence or some sway to him. Or he may say, to us, just like he said to you and everyone else, like, hey, I got this. I'm going to go about it my way. I'm an adult, and this is the way I'm choosing to go about it. I mean, we all know at the end of the day, like you said, other than pinning him down and, forcing some antibiotics on him. Nobody can force him to do anything. But
yeah,
it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so
I'm speechless. I'm completely speechless about the whole situation. I don't understand where this is coming from, and
I mean,
for me, it's not comprehensible what's going through his family's and his mind.
to be fair,
Yep.
all three of us on any given day sometimes make questionable decisions.
Of course. Questionable decision was him dropping off the call.
Or him joining the call.
That was a question. That honestly, I had no clue. We had no clue that was coming. Simon just
I
wanted to
had
jump
no
on.
idea. He had messaged me privately saying that he was watching, and I did not know this was the angle
No, nor
that
did
we were
I.
going to go with it.
And like you said, it's a very touchy subject because
It really is, 'cause
someone's
I'm-
personal health. That's how they want to
I'm
deal.
no more a doctor than you are,
Yeah.
Johnny. So other than what seemingly is said out there, I have no personal experience, and I have no more of a medical degree than you do. And if, like you said, it's steeped in his in a belief system,
belief or religion, or just if he's getting bad advice, I don't know. Or and again, we could all look really silly when in 3 weeks he comes out and looks great. But
yeah,
the odds are against that, based on the science that some people clearly know better than us.
Yeah, and as Aaron is saying, like, at the end of the day, to overuse that cliche, he's an adult that's going to make his own adult-like decisions, and we can all well wish him and offer up suggestions or ideas, but if he's really set on the method that he wants to go about it, there's plenty of things that lots of other people do that I completely disagree with. And it's not necessarily my position at that point either to tell them how they should be handling things.
Of course, I would. Just like
I think if people had advice for me, they'd probably tell me to eat less and exercise more. And clearly, I don't listen to that all too well. So
me neither. It's very tough. I don't know if we're gonna get Simon back or not.
I'm guessing a phone died as you've tried him back.
If that's the case, cool.
Then we may not hear
if
from him.
If he wants to come back, he can. If not, I understand.
But interesting. Needless to say, to have Simon reach out with such concern. Understandably, it is in fact 12:50 a.m. Over there.
He has a 10 a.m. tee off. Or noon?
Yeah, I think it was 10. 10 sounds about right. Simon's not one to over prepare. I think is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he took a long nap today. I'm not going to second guess.
Nope, I'm not.
Simon's decisions either.
That's right. Simon's an adult. He can prepare any way he wants. It really is a tough situation to be in for a lot of people.
Now he's giving us.
He said his phone died.
Expletives. All right, we got it.
It's a tough situation for all of us because we want nothing but the best for Ricky.
Of course.
We want him because the disc golf is better when he plays because he's
always a competitor.
He's the first or second best player in the world for the past 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great competitor, and off the course, he's fun and energetic and silly.
Yeah.
Like it was Simon is messaging and saying that was very spontaneous. He didn't even really realize he was going to do that. He wanted to join the show to just talk. And,
he wanted to talk about Chains for Charity, and next thing you know, Lyme disease.
No, he just
went off the rails.
He just wanted to jump on and talk, but it really went in a different direction right away, which is fine. And we're not above the serious, and we're not below the silly.
So
we all just want the best for what's the best for Ricky, and that's a personal decision he's going to have to make. Hopefully he's getting all of the best information for him and his family and his situation, and that's all we can hope for. I think just as a general rule of thumb, go to a doctor, like an actual doctor, and to get a second opinion. Like I don't know if Ricky has done that, so I'm going to make assumption he has, but it I don't know, because we want Ricky around. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, Simon has said, thanks for having me on. Was that the most awkward drop-in we've ever had from a guest?
And drop out almost.
Yep.
Well, maybe not the most awkward dropout. Let's be real. We've had quite a few.
Yeah.
That was. I mean,
okay. Well,
Simon's always, as we say to a lot of our pros, you guys are always welcome on if you have something to say, whether it's in a personal opinion, whether you want to just promote something you're doing. Our doors are open. We are here for your pleasure.
I don't know about that. All right. So you're working on, I saw you a moment ago, working on our giveaway for
ready.
Our SmashBoxxTV patrons. We appreciate
You need to find a way to give
you.
away your live pass.
I do. I will look into that as well.
You shouldn't not have said how far Simon threw. That could have been a good.
Oh, yes.
Could have been a good guess.
But what would also be a good guess is how far Eagle threw. So I just gave that one away.
Oh, did you?
No.
Oh, well, no. Okay. So let's do our Patreon support for this particular after show. Every week, you are eligible for a giveaway. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. For any amount, we do a weekly prize. I think this week Terry's going to do a disc of some sort.
Yep. You got it.
A disc out of his personal stash, and we will make sure that you get that. We have 197 people as our patrons, and I did add in the people who sign up at SmashBoxx.TV/weekly giveaway. That sounds right. Maybe it's giveaways. I'm not sure. Either way, so 197 people. Terry, what number do you want me to generate?
I like the number 3.
3. All right, I'm going to go 171, 74, number 72. That's who.
How are they sorted this week, Johnny? They all want to know.
By first name.
By first
72.
name.
Jared Raker. Raeker.
That's a newer name.
Jared Raker. Congratulations. You are the winner of this week's Patreon support giveaway SmashBoxx after show.
Thank you very much, Jared.
I think next week we're going to have the disc member giveaway. So if you are not a Patreon supporter, please come on patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Help support independent disc golf media.
We appreciate that.
We do. And we love you guys more because you're Patreon supporters and Smashies and Super Chatters.
All of them.
We love you all.
I want to give a quick shout out, Chris Cobb, who's frequently on the board, also is often a wrench. Appreciate that, Chris, as he sometimes will manage and control things when things get ruly or out of hand. Chris sent me a follow-up, thank you support pack. I had supported the event taking place out in Arizona last weekend, and then they turned around and sent me a T sign along with a couple of discs and a custom mini cooler. So thank you, Chris. I certainly appreciate it. Glad I could support your event. We appreciate all your support at SmashBoxx, and then anytime I'm in town and you've helped in the other countless ways, I appreciate each and every one of those. So thank you very much, and I want to give you a quick shout out here as well. All right.
How about...
Johnny. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it. All right, guys, here it is. I've got the giveaway. I'm gonna let you guys answer. I don't know if I like the first. Just someone giving us the first answer. What I have is there a better way to do? Okay. What I have for
your giveaway.
Thanks. Is what should be a free code to watching the USDGC. It is only valid once. So don't think you're going to get clever and be like, oh, I'm going to enter it and then I'm going to give it to my buddy. That's not going to work. It's an individual unique code. I have not entered it. I have not used it myself. I've paid full price for the USDGC coverage. So with mine, I'm going to transfer it, which probably says in the rules that I can't, but if it doesn't somehow go through, we'll buy it for you. So we are giving away, I don't know how much better we could be supporting the efforts over there by us purchasing it and then having more people get in on it. So here it is. Earlier tonight, we had Dynamite Dana Vici join us. Give us some updates. Our second guest, Jay Redding. Our third unannounced guest was Simon Lizotte. So the first person to correctly answer will win this code. And the first person, now get ready. I'm going to give you guys all just a moment to get ready on the chat board. This one will be pretty easy. If you already are signed up for the USDGC coverage, please don't bother answering it, all right? Because it's not going to do you any good to have another code. So here it is. If you're all ready, get those keys ready. I will take a 2 or 4 letter answer. The first one to answer it correctly wins the code. Here's the question. Jay Redding is being put into the Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor, whatever it was called, in Bettendorf, which is in what state? 2 or 4 letter answer will work, as in the abbreviation.
But it's got to be the right 2 letters.
It's got, of course. It has to be the Disc Golf. Luke is your winner. Nailing it. He is in Iowa.
He did all 4 letters. He gave everyone a chance.
Yes, he did. Next answers came in for Texas, ISMILA High School. Oh.
There you go. Darren LeMay was the first one with the right 2 letters, IA. I saw an IO, an IS.
An LOL, a Yeti. That's a good one. Disc Golf Luke, please reach out to me. Ideally on Facebook, or I guess you could reach out to me maybe on the YouTubes, but reach out to me ASAP so that I can get you the code.
Or via email.
Via email. Terry at prodiscgolfer.com. TERRY at PRODISCGOLFER, prodiscgolfer.com. Reach out to me, and I will get you that code. Jared says, I'm too slow for this. I didn't know the correct abbreviation. You didn't need to know it. You just need to know how to spell Iowa, because that would have worked as well. And to be fair, the correct abbreviation, there's really only so many combinations. You know it's going to be an I. It could either be I-O, I-W, or I-A.
It's not like Mississippi where you're like, ooh, is it M-I? Is
MS?
it M-S? Is it M-P? It's M-S, but
yeah.
In general, there's a lot of
Jared,
options.
I'm sorry. I know you said you were too broke to pay for it earlier. You mentioned that, but yeah. That's what we got for you. So I appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Disc Golf Luke. Luke Butch is on the board coming in from, what, Singapore, Malaysia? You're not in Thailand anymore, but either way, I know you're on the other side of the country. We appreciate it. All right, can we close this thing out? Unless you have something else, unless the board has something else for us to give in terms of some actual questions. Otherwise, I think we're pretty ready to get stuff closed out. I did make an announcement yesterday that I've got some sweet, sweet videos in the queue, all just needing commentary. I know I feel like a broken record, and I've said that a million other times, but right now, all 3 rounds of the Rocky Mountain Women's are edited. They're lining up where they're going to do commentary from on those 3 rounds. A couple rounds from Nantucket, plus a Raz round, plus a Skins round, all edited. Just need commentary. And then PCS Open. And I saw that was talked about on Dickerson's on the box.
Correct.
People were like, what in the F?
Because
a C tier that paid out like $3,400?
And they only paid out like the top 8 players or 6 players,
12
something like
or
that,
11
out of 60.
Yeah, that's a European thing.
Overseas thing, yeah.
But still, $3,400 for first place. Just saying.
That's awesome.
It was ridiculous is what it was. So PCS Open, put it on your schedule next year once we know when it's going to be. All right, looking good to coverage this week. Dan says, have a great week, Smashies. Good night. Last thought or maybe point from our end regarding the coverage is there is a chance you may see Johnny and or myself doing some kind of watch party of sorts. And we will not be rebroadcasting, of course. That's defeating all the purposes and legalities. We won't be rebroadcasting the coverage, of course. We've already paid for it. And we will be consuming it. But then what we may do is kind of have a watch party, an online watch party. And we would encourage you to pull up the broadcast, to watch it along with us, but then also maybe chat along and have a little virtual party. We could have an in-person party, but our studio here is pretty small. But if we want to have an in-person party,
we could.
We really could.
Yeah, it depends. For me, it all depends on scheduling for this particular weekend. I think I've said before, my son's got his very first swim meet, so I think they get done in the morning, but I'm not 100% sure. I need to verify all the times and whatnot. But if I'm home in time, I would be happy to throw the coverage on one of these things, flip on the camera, lock the door so Terry can't come in,
Mm-hmm.
and then we could sit and chat and laugh.
I'll
and
watch. You
make
got
fun
great
of-
internet. I'll watch from out my car. I don't care.
That's true. Darn it. And really, the goal will just be to make fun of Hannah Macbeth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason I'm watching the coverage.
She
I don't even so
shows
much
up prepared. Who does that?
I don't even care about the golf. If I can sit and make fun of Hannah Macbeth, I will do that.
I hear she loves that.
She is a big fan.
A few other quick things. Luke says he's in Malaysia. It's 1 p.m. there. Awesome. JT O'Brien says, thanks for all the hard work every week, guys. I personally appreciate the 2 to 4 hour mental break every week. I think you said mental instead of metal.
Or maybe it's
Are
metal,
you saying
but-
we're mentally deficient here?
No, I think he's saying that it doesn't take a lot of mental stimulation to listen to us.
You're welcome, I think.
When I listen to you guys, I don't have to think at all.
You guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Darren LeMay says, just got here. What do we do for the pay-per-view? You log in and you pay for it. It is $9.99. There's a number of discount codes out there to get it for $7.99. Easiest if you are, in fact, a PDGA member or a renewed one. That should be how you could get it for $7.99 if you wish.
Darren, because you're an Ultra World writer, I think you just bill that to Charlie.
Yes.
Right at Ultra World.
Disc Golf Nerd said, I wonder if they considered doing a pass for just the final round. I'm guessing they considered it.
But it's probably not worth it, because if you do, everybody's going to clearly want to kind of do the last round of coverage. If you're interested in live, you're probably interested in the last day. So what do? Do that at like a $5 level?
No, it'd be funny if they did all 3 days for $9.99 or final day coverage for $8.99. Just like discount it for $1.
Kind of. I was thinking like,
because you're right. Everyone's going to want the final day more than any. So
what you'd
have to put it at like
$5.99
at least.
So then maybe you get like a $2 discount. At that point, it's kind of like, who cares? Like, because they're not going to evenly divide it up. That makes no sense.
No,
financially,
they would never do that.
And so it would, you have to go from what would normally be like $3.99, and then you're like, well, I'll make it $5.99, and then at that point, it's like, well, we're already giving away for $7.99. Is it really that big of a deal? And I'm sure for some people, $2 is a huge deal. And as I said to other people, if $2 is a huge deal to you, maybe live coverage isn't what you should be spending your money on. But who am I to judge?
Oh, it's that Luke. Gosh, he was always on it. Someday we're going to make you ineligible, Luke. I didn't realize you were Disc Golf. Luke is a gentleman from here in Wisconsin that's always on top of things, but it pays to be a smashy, I guess. Disc Golf Nerd says, I'm actually off work for all 3 days of live, so I'll probably order it. Yes, I think that's a good idea. You certainly should. Where do we pay for the live coverage? How?
You can go to USDGC.com/live and sign in there. Someone asked, how do I sign in? And I think you can sign in with different social medias, pay for it via PayPal or whatever.
Yes, that is they give you the option to continue with Facebook, sign in with Google, or sign in with Twitter. Again, that's USDGC.com/live. I have also just put that, if you're following along on YouTube, I put the direct link in there. So did Chris Kopp.
Cecilia Anderson said he's based in the EU. He likes watching live coverage with a delay when he has time to watch it. Will it be possible with DGPT? Or like it's been with DGP, will that be possible for USDGC? Yes, the live coverage is available for like the next 30 days if you pay for it. So you can go back and watch it. And I hope after that, they have a local recording and they just upload it to YouTube at that point then. There's no point in
getting rid of it.
Vanishing it. I mean, it's something I think for posterity reasons should be out there for the public. I'm a big supporter of having those things available to everybody after the fact. So I hope that they do take that time to upload it to Spin and say, hey, here's our 4-day coverage or 3-day. And maybe even they put that first day out there.
They won't do that.
I know they won't. But if it goes really smooth, you never know.
Marcus asked, do we know how many people have ordered pay-per-view? No. We have no idea. Obviously, they do over there. We have no idea, and nor may we ever learn of that. I want to say it's not really any of our business. Nothing more than curiosity for Johnny and myself. Maybe those numbers will get shared with someone like the PDGA. Maybe they won't. Again, no idea. I got to say, even if there's a public viewership number, which I doubt there will
There
be,
won't
but
be.
even if there was, that's not going to be accurate. And I say that because
that's just concurrent viewers, and that's not necessarily everybody that's watching, everybody that's paid.
Correct. And I say that because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a USDGC partner. I paid, I don't know, $50 or $100 to support the USDGC at the beginning of the year, the event in itself. And then just today they said, hey, we're giving all our USDGC partners a free code. So clearly I didn't directly pay $7.99 or $9.99 for that. So yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to know that. Again, it'd be nice to know simply for our business purposes, but it may never be public knowledge to anyone.
Yep. So we could get a general idea of like, oh, they got
It was
1,000 people or 2,000 or 5,000 people to pay.
Or 209. It would be great to know their success rate, but because it would just maybe help point and direct us a little. Darren says Jomez and CCDG should charge $1 for video next day or $2 for the next day or two, and then make it free after 2 days or so.
I'm 100% in that camp.
Yeah, Johnny.
But it's tough when you make. I'm not going off on this tangent. When you make an agreement with the PDGA, like the PDGA wants it next day because they know that that's what the viewers want. So you can't really do that if you've made an agreement with the PDGA to cover and supply
and provide next day.
And provide next day. Now, other events, I'm 100% in your camp. Would I like to see it for NTs and stuff? Yeah, if I would, but I don't think we're going to go there. I don't think that's the direction that the PDGA is going to go. And as far as the Disc Golf Pro Tour, someone reached out to me and asked me what the plans were for next year. We have no idea yet. Until there's a schedule released, we won't know what events we're even covering next year. And we won't have an idea of if there's going to be live next year. If based on what Jeff had when he was on the show, it sounded like that was the direction they wanted to continue. But until the numbers come in and things like that, there's been zero decisions made for next year.
Disc Golf Nerd says we'll hopefully have a smashy review of the Discmania Link next week. It's a fantastic disc. Okay, good. We'll gladly play it if so. Darren says, what are you guys' plans if your kids go into travel sports? I was planning to go to the USDGC about 6 hours or so from here. No chance. 4 travel soccer games, cross-country meet, and a singing lesson. Mm-hmm. Darren, just do what I do. Neglect your kids. Neglect your family.
If you need some lessons, call up Terry. He'll tell you how to neglect them.
Easy. And I joke because I currently just have 2 kids, and they're involved in stuff, but it's not crazy or overbearing. And also, I've kind of set a slightly different precedent than probably most families. I'm not around a lot on the weekends. That's just where my life and career is right now. I don't know how Terry would be able to travel if his girls were in travel sports.
His wife would be very busy.
Yeah. Actually, after watching from it's advantageous as the lead card starts at about
8
Europe.
p.m. because he's on the other. He's
Correct.
over in Europe.
Okay. I've never got more than 4K free. I suspect under live. Never got more than 4K free. I suspect under 2K. That unfortunately that's inaccurate.
I don't know if maybe.
Unless you mean last year's live at USDGC never got more than 4, which I feel like they did get more than.
That could be.
And we've seen as many as 15,000 viewers live.
Worlds this year we saw 15,000. That obviously would not translate over into paid.
Correct.
That is just kind of how it would. Again, we can guess all we want. We can guess 1,000, 2,000.
Yeah.
Who knows what the numbers actually are? Again, like Terry said, I hope we hear them, hope we see them, but who knows? I mean,
success rate equals 0 in profit for them, not the PDGA. They get a flat rate guaranteed, not a viewer rate. Got to run. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Disc Golf Nerd. Central Coast says, feel you, Terry.
About the being away all the time, I think.
Later, Nerd. Can we get an Ian drop in so we have a GAVD Ian rant?
No. I have talked to Ian a little bit about this over the past couple of weeks. He's, again, mostly on the same page as I am. I can't speak for Ian. I'll let Ian speak for Ian because I'm sure I probably said some things that maybe even Ian doesn't agree with. And they were my opinions. So how I
Let's
feel.
shut down your opinions already. I'm kind of sick of hearing them.
Sometimes I have them. Someone said I am not nearly the co-host that Carl is. From Murder Mike and Carl.
Oh, I was wondering who you're talking about.
Yeah, from Murder. And I said, well, maybe
you got to say Beanie Man. Come on.
No, that's what I said. Well, maybe I need a beanie.
Yeah, you definitely do.
I got a kick out of that. So I chuckled. And I don't know how serious he was. Maybe he was totally serious. I think I was talking to Murder Mike about something in a thread, and the guy chimed in.
I mean, they're news and brews. I kind of feel like we should get hammered some night. I'm not saying they get hammered.
No, they
all the
drink,
time, but I think we should get hammered.
I've seen you more than a little bit drunk on a live broadcast. So
anyway, Darren says, Terry, how pumped are you that JVD is killing it for you guys in fantasy? Couldn't possibly know. I could not know less. It's not possible for me to know.
He probably didn't
less
even know
than
that
zero.
the league was going on again this year.
No, I knew it was going on. Outside of that, I couldn't name.
That's why our team name is Smashbox, JVD, and Terry.
Yeah,
I put Terry in quotes.
Perfect.
And
I didn't know that.
I slapped CCDG around like
Go
it was
figure.
like it was nothing.
Champs versus chumps.
Talk about a chump right there. And then CCDG alum Corey slapped him around. I was really hoping Mo was going to be next, but he's not part of the league. And then some guy from Alta World beat me. But then
us.
Yeah, beat us. Sorry, they beat us. But then this year, Alex, I believe it was Alex Colucci this week, I slapped him down. So I've got a good team. We've got a good team this year. So
yeah, we do.
Championship team.
Yeah. Dude, on paper, our team is definitely the best, as one of our idiot friends says.
As I tell everybody, nobody cares about your fantasy football team other than you. Even the people in your league don't probably care.
No, they don't care either because they care about their team.
Either way, it's a fun league to be in with all the different media crews. I get a kick out of it, and it's one of the leagues where I can do a little bit of trash talking. So,
speaking of trash talking, I'm gonna throw her under it again. Can I please quit getting tweets from Hannah Macbeth that are complaints about how popular she is?
No.
Oh, too many people reach out to me. I'm too popular. Okay, maybe that's just the tone that I read them in.
That's probably
maybe
just the
not.
tone you read them in.
All right, guys, we're going to call it officially. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I feel like it was a pretty solid show, getting some great updates earlier from Dana, who we haven't talked to in a long time, of course. Yeti always has some amazing insights along with a few great stories and ways that you can support Edge, ways that you can support disc golf, and the growth that we continue to have with that program and beyond, and thanks to the USDGC. Good luck with your picks at the USDGC. Make sure you get your Grip 6 picks in, your fantasy Skip Ace picks in, your Chains for Charity picks in, your bets on coolbet.com.
Yep.
I mean, if somebody says disc golf's not serious business,
coolbet.com, go lay some money on some overseas stuff. Just don't tell me you're from the US because I don't think they'll let you.
I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'll probably put some money down on it because I'm a gambler. So we appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Simon Lizotte for his update and fill-in, and we wish, of course, nothing but the best for Mr. Y. Saki. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, here on pre-USDGC night, thank you guys for joining us. This has been podcast episode 267 after show. We'll see you later on in the week when you step inside the Smashbox.